Invincible.
Hello.
Hello, brothers. Hey, how are you, brother? How are you?
Good.
Peace of Jesus Christ be with you, brothers and sisters. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, brother Nico. God bless you. Welcome, Ewa, Christian apologist, and Dragona. Welcome, all of you. God bless you all and keep you safe. Welcome, brother. Thank you again. Sorry, I brought forward the timing like 1 hour. Hoping for more people to arrive. Hopefully at this timing, you know. So nothing special. We will see how it will be this time, and maybe next time, if it's better like that, we'll keep it in this timing. Otherwise, we'll go back to our origin. Our the timing, the 7 GMT. Yeah, 7 p.m. GMT. Yes. God bless you all and keep you safe. Uh, all right,
Yeah, maybe
brother.
we
I
can.
will start. Go, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe we can ask the folks that are already here, what time works best for them, and then again ask at the end. Maybe that'll help.
Sure. I previously started, asked them, and they said that 7 is okay. But then I saw that there is a little bit less people last time, and a couple of times. So that's why I thought it was shaky. So let's go back again, and we ask them. We'll ask them again. Please write down what best time for you. This time is better. Excellent, Dragona. Thank you. Please write for us, all of you. Yes, thank you, Dragon. Uh, you see, we already have a response.
So,
Joy, welcome. Good to see you. Uh, Damien, welcome, brother. God bless you. God bless you all. God bless. And we'll start in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I will leave you for our brother to start. Go ahead, brother.
okay. Yeah, today is going to be quite different. Let's say. I'm going back to the doing movie review, but we're going to do a bit of a trilogy with a spin-off, or really not necessarily a spin-off. It's kind of interesting. My Life in Ruins. I don't know what happened there. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about something that people probably don't want to hear about. This whole, woe is me kind of thing. But a perspective I'm pretty sure you haven't heard before concerning Greeks and how the virtual ethnic cleansing applies to them too, if not especially. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the PowerPoint, and we'll go from there. All right. Also, about next week, I wanted to know what you guys would prefer. I've had some comments about focusing more on Islam. We do incorporate that. It is planned to do reviews solely on movies that focus only on Islam to come. But are people put off by the themes that we've been doing, like that have not necessarily been solely on Islam? Do you guys want me to do something different? In other words, next week I was planning on doing the movie Turning Red. Um, so we can talk about something again that's also related to Islam, like Bachabazi and Aisha, and that kind of stuff. It's definitely related. The whole YouTube doesn't want us to talk about fascist things. They censor us, which is kind of strange. We can't say Nazi, we can't say uh, pedophilia, or you can't use these terms for some reason without getting zapped, which is strange because that's how you combat things, is by talking about it. But anyway, That whole pedoism thing is definitely part of Islam. So I was thinking about doing a discussion about, well, bricks and its its affiliation with Islam and how that's changing things globally, especially in the 21st century. But also, of course, about Disney and about how Turning Red, this movie came out before Disney publicly declared, yeah, well, we're going to sexualize your children and, coerce sodomy on them and these kinds of things. They publicly declared that right after this movie was released. Um, but yeah, so you guys let me know what you prefer. Do you prefer something like that, or should we just do movies that are about Islam and only about Islam? Let me know. Also, if you're watching this later, you can leave that in the comments section as well. Okay, so let's take a look at our uh, theme of this week. As you can see, we've got my Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is really popular. I watched it in the movie theaters myself. Um, I wasn't completely crazy about it. I found it amusing. I thought the production value was good. But yeah, as a Greek, it was absolutely offensive. So it was around the year, the movie came out 2002. So it was my first, I don't say my first exposure, but it was definitely a shock to my system. Like, wow, that just happened. Yeah, we'll talk also about my life in ruins.
Why it was a shock? Why it was
Oh,
shock
we'll
for your
get it.
sister?
We'll get into it. I don't want to, yeah, because I've
Oh,
got a lot to cover, but I will cover each movie, not in great detail, but in enough detail so we can get some insight on the movies and their implications. I won't talk
sure.
too much this week about production value or behind the scenes stuff for each movie because there's just so much to cover. And but yeah, it's quite a lot of interesting stuff going on with these movies. And then the two sequels. I don't know how many people have watched the sequels. If you watched any of the sequels, please let us know in chat. I'm curious how many people here actually went to the movie theater to watch them. The last one was last year, 2023, um, with The Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. What an original title. And that one was just anyway. We'll get to that too. But it's just been a downward spiral. Um, so let's talk a little more about the Marvels. Okay. All right, just kidding. It's a little inside joke. A few weeks ago, we were doing one on the Marvels that had just been released on streaming, and yeah, that turned out to be a 2.5 stream long series, and really we could go on and on about that one. That was just such a wretched propaganda piece. But anyway, okay, so a Big Fat Greek Wedding. It was a really popular movie. Greeks loved it, by the way. Yes, they were offended by it, but they were laughing with it at themselves. That's considered a modern virtue somehow, to laugh at yourself. Um, there's yeah, and in these circles, there's a saying: there is neither Jew nor Greek. That's a very popular saying. I hear that all the time on these streams, all the time. But how it's said, at least sometimes, is kind of intriguing. It definitely stands out. Um, there's like this emphasis, let's say, on certain things. So let's take a look at this video. Hopefully, you guys can see it. I've set it on private. I had some problems with how I'm sharing it, but okay, let's. Uh-oh. Sorry, 1 second. I got to stop sharing to share this. My bad. All right. Okay. Let me know if you cannot hear. Can you guys see? I guess that's a minister. If you guys are familiar with the scene, please let me know. I'm a little confused. When I first saw it, I thought it was a minister, maybe a Baptist, that kind of thing. But I'm not so sure. You see the people standing in the background. You'll see them. They're yeah, they look Masonic to me. And then later through Malone, I heard the all about the Hebrew Israelites. And then this other organization, Christian Apologists, just recently shared and got zapped for doing it by Yaboob. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of orgs out there that are just outright fascist and hypocritical and so on. So I don't know if this was just some kind of Christian sect that just is off the reservation or a different organization altogether. So if anybody knows, please let us know so we can know what's going on here. But does everyone see the visual?
What is the? Is it a statue of Saint Mary in the middle?
Right. It's supposed to be. I mean, he thinks it is, but source online says it's not. It's a saint. It's a Catholic saint, a woman saint. She's not holding
Yes.
baby Jesus. She's actually holding a crucifix. So I can't remember the
Okay.
name of this saint, to be honest with you, but no, yeah. But he believes it's the Virgin Mary, and the audience believes it's the Virgin Mary, and we're led to believe that it's the Virgin Mary. Let me ask you,
In
Amir.
Arabic, in Arabic, it's written now. Then there is thousands of followers, but they are what they call it, like
Misled.
what they call it. Yeah, like people following this
Mhm.
innocents following that.
Yeah.
He's saying it's Faustina. Christian apologists saying it's Faustina.
All right. Thank
Uh,
you.
uh, yeah, so it's thousands of like innocent what they call them, the haya. Let me see the haya in Arabic. What does it mean in English? It's gone out of my mind. Like somebody being hit, like the ha yeah, the haya is victims. Sorry for that. Thousands of victims being misled and following this kind of sect. This is what's written in Arabic.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. I was going to ask you. So yeah, basically on the bottom it's translated in Arabic what is being said in English in the video, and this is shared by a Muslim online. By the way, this was a video that was viral in other circles, but a Muslim saw it, and he chose to share on his channel with translations in Arabic and his own conclusion. What we get to. So I'll be interested to hear what you have to say about what that pulls
Thousands
him
of innocent
from.
victims trusting in this claim.
That's right.
You're saying this, look,
Amen.
you saying this, that little image on the cross is Jesus.
Right.
Now, we're going to test your image, your little image Jesus, and we're going to test what you consider is the blessed mother.
Blessed Mother.
All right?
Amen.
I wish I had some heart,
Amen.
like I have.
I saw a couple of videos of this kind of ministry. They are destroying the statues like that. Is that
Right.
similar?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I find it fascinating. He's doing this weird hand gesture and he's asking for something hard. He needs something hard. I need something hard. Oh, look at his hand gesture.
Yes.
Amen.
I wish I had some heart,
Yes.
Amen.
like I have.
Yeah.
Is that revealing or what? We in Greece we call that malaka. But
Gotta have it, give me a hammer. I want to see the discount power.
That's right.
You don't mind, do you?
That's right.
I want to see the about power.
Amen.
okay, see here we're saying I want to see if it has power. So he's testing God here, basically. You know, and we'll get
Yes.
to.
He didn't remember what when the devil tested Jesus. What did he tell him in the Bible? Don't test
Right.
the Lord your God.
Yeah.
What is he trying to?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's that's what I'm trying to figure out. Are these people actually Christian, or is it some like Hebrew Israelite thing going on, or what? I don't know who they are.
It's
Just,
just fake sect, in my opinion.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't see any crosses, so I don't know. It might not. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't say don't do that. Why not?
Why not?
Don't you fight for it. Let her fight for herself.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let her fight for herself.
Go ahead.
So notice the jeering. I mean, he's getting the mob mentality going. He's rousing them up, and he's got the video cameraman shouting, "Go ahead, go ahead." He's got his yes men in the back, very prominent. The guardsmen, no doubt, to protect him. Obviously, he gets out of line regularly, so he needs security. But they're clapping. They're the red applause sign. They're telling the crowd, "Hey, you know what? It's time to agree, to cheer up."
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They are same. Sorry for that, but the same crap.
Same crap. Well, we'll get to. So that's another theme of this stream today is crap and crapopolis. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a God.
Amen.
They said she is above all women. But the Bible said blessed among women. Not above.
That's right.
Among women.
Okay, again, we see this is very common, especially with Muslims, how they like to play word games, to split hairs, and then when you when you ask them about it, when you force them to answer, to respond, they'll just lash out, get angry, and attack, or just run away.
Yes.
So he's playing on, the Bible uses the word among women, not of women or whatever. I mean, this is just, it's a very weak argument, and obviously he's
The
mixing.
Bible use what word? Sorry, could you able to repeat?
Yeah, he says, the Bible says she's among women, not above women. So, yeah, I mean, he's just playing.
But the Bible, but the Bible, even when the archangel came to salute her, he salute her differently as woman.
Right.
He salute her like the Lord saw in you such that and that. Like he saw salute her with peace. The Lord saw in you good. You've been the what they call it exactly, like he gave you, like give you the, he will be what they call it, like what they are using, let's say now they are using, let's say now, Catholic Hail Mary, this kind of thing.
Right.
At the beginning of the Bible, it's not only for Catholic, it's for everyone, because it's from the Bible. So it's that you've been seen by, because you are pure, you've been seen by the Lord, you've been selected. So it's not like any woman.
Right.
Isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, exactly. The Bible does explicitly express that. Also, the Catholic prayer is not Mary above women. It's Mary blessed among women, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same. It continue from that when the archangel came, and then when she went to Anne, and the baby will start moving in her belly, and she blessed her too, and she said, the mother of my Lord came to my house. As soon as he felt you, the baby start moving in my tummy. So it's the whole thing. The greeting, the thing, it is what they pray, the rosary. So it's not nothing out of the Bible, So
Yeah.
it is not any woman. It is the woman, the Virgin Mary. It's nothing, no one else.
Yeah.
You know.
So he's using several different fallacies to push this lie, like the straw man. He's built a straw man about above and among. He's doing the steel man. He's like passionately pushing his agenda. It's just wrong all around. And the spirit of what he's doing things is obvious here.
Yes.
Let's continue.
That's right. Big difference. I'm doing this to show people how through deception of the devil, who used the Bible as a front, the name Jesus as a front, Jesus has been misrepresented for years.
Amen.
That's called projection. All right.
So folks frown upon me when I do something like this. This is pretty hard.
Okay, where are the feminists? Why aren't the feminists complaining about this right here? This misogyny. I don't.
Pretty hard.
Because they are idiots.
Sorry.
Because they are idiots. They don't take. The feminists they are with Linda Sarsour in the protests, wearing hijabs. The feminists.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Is that right?
Janice.
Now,
Amen.
this image supposed to be the Savior.
Right.
This image supposed to be Christ. Listen, people, when these people got this on a church yard, in houses, in...
I mean, so is
he daring Jesus?
Yeah, he's pointing at Jesus and he's saying, well, that's not Jesus. I'm not sure what he's intending. If he's mad because it's sorry.
So who is he if he's not Christian? Why he's daring Jesus? as a
Yeah,
minister of the devil.
yeah, and I said there's no crosses, but actually there is a cross. There was a cross right behind him, the center point. So this is a Christian
Yeah, I
sect.
saw it. Yeah, it's a sect, some sect, disturbing sect.
Yeah, David Koresh kind of thing. Yeah, it's a straight, and it's just backward. I mean, so this is supposed to be Jesus. I guess this is a black-white thing. I'm guessing he's upset that there's a white Jesus there. So I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility still they're Hebrew Israelite, because I believe they use crosses too. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Didn't Saint Paul say that there is no white, there is no black, there is no slave, there is no free, there is no Greek, there is
No,
no Jew, that we are all one in
right,
Christ?
right, and that's
So
how
we are not speaking about colors in here.
yeah, exactly.
We believe in the Lord Jesus Christ as all in one. We are all one in Christ. No colors. We don't
Yeah,
believe as woman and man and everything. We are all one in Christ, aren't we?
amen. Yeah, and that's exactly why I started with that quote and how it's being misused in even these circles. So it appears, and people by the fruits. I mean, their heart after a while. You know what they actually intend. Um, and that's why I'm sharing this video. So to premise what I'm going to follow with about the virtual ethnic cleansing. But let's continue if we can bear it. If we can bear it, and this is difficult to watch, but I think
I
it's a
think this
necessary.
kind of thing we should make a special episode for. You know that, right?
Yeah, I agree. We will. We will definitely will.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Prison cells. And this is what they're doing to it.
Now. That's right.
Your family is sick and you crying. Oh, Mary, please, oh, Mary. Oh, Mary, help me. Help me, Mary, help me, Mary. Help me, Mary. Mary, help me.
All right. So
First he's
Go ahead.
an idiot. This is not Mary.
Yeah.
First, he's an idiot. This is not Mary. Second, yes, he's barking at the wrong tree.
All right.
Second, it doesn't matter what kind of saint, which saint it is. We have our brother here earlier on mentioned it, Christian apologist. He said it's Faustina. All right. Any saint, we are all project to be saints in the Lord Jesus Christ. We are all, we've been called saints with the being Christian being called saint before being called or Saint Teresa as Ewa said, or Faustina as So anyway, we are all being called saint before being called Christians. However, we are all saints in the Lord, in the Lord's eye, because we have to stay without sins, and we do whatever the Lord did to be saints, not to be do the devil do what the devil do. Like
Right.
that will be the sons of the devils. So we do whatever the Lord did, and will be project saints. Basically, we will be saints. However, whatever he's doing, this actor, he's actor, he's not a minister, so he is an idiot. And I don't know what blasphemies he's doing,
right.
but
Well,
it doesn't matter what kind of saints he is blaspheming. Doesn't matter what kind of saint. It doesn't matter even for I will tell you, let it be a normal human being, and any mother, any woman standing up there, and he's doing that for her. She's not a saint yet. He's blaspheming. He's a bad person. I will
agree.
put any person. I will put any person not dead yet, not blasphemous. Exactly. He hasn't been. The person is not saint yet. We are all saints in the Lord's eye until proven guilty, as they say. Yes. So if he do it for a normal person like that, he is an idiot. Forget about saints. So imagine him doing it with the saints. We are all. So imagine when he's doing it with man of God, or woman of the Lord, of God. That's bad.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up Man of God. That's actually another recent movie. One of very few that was done on Greeks or Orthodoxies. and that was about Saint Nectarius. But again, in my mind, that movie too was done in the same spirit, covertly undermining the meaning.
Yeah,
But yeah, you bring up very good points, and also the fact that his hatred toward these holy people um, manifests and grows into his hatred for Jesus Christ himself.
exactly.
So,
But bear
yeah.
in mind, I want to cut you again, and I will stop. I will let you say whatever you want to say. I will tell you this kind of thing. Bear in mind, when they want to quote, they don't quote the fathers of the church or any saint. Guess what? They will quote a recent person, a blasphemous like him, and they will quote his books. Yes, they wouldn't quote a father of the church. Now I will let you speak. Sorry, brother. Keep going.
No, I mean, yeah, and as far as the veneration of saints, this is scriptural. This is not not everything that Holy Tradition does is scriptural, but almost all of it certainly is. So that surprises some people, but I think it's in Revelations. I mean, explicitly saying, "Blessed are those that burn incense unto the holy people, saints, what we call saints." I could be wrong. It's been a while, but yeah. Anyway, yeah,
We have our brother in here came to Orthodoxy through the movie Man of God, and
no
we
kidding.
are
Wow.
welcoming you, brother, in Orthodoxy. God bless you, and we are all keeping you in our prayers. Please pray for our brother. He is in Orthodoxy, and pray for him. All of you, Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, all of you, pray for him, and I hope the Lord will keep him in faith and stay with us, and we'll pray for you, brother.
Yeah.
Because we are
So
all one family in Christ.
yeah.
So keep
So
going, bro.
yeah, and again, this is a good opportunity for me to apologize to my audience. I tend to be pretty much mostly negative in these streams because my goal is to expose Hollywood and what it's been doing. But I do have love even for Saint Nectarius, and as you pointed out, thank you for pointing that out, that all these movies have value, have some redeeming value, even though we don't all see it. But yeah, again, it's my goal to talk about what barely anyone else is talking about, and in the way that no one else is talking about. Usually, when you hear things that I'm saying, they always assign money, making money to it, which I don't see it.
Yes.
I think it's the things that they do is much more involved in whether or not they're making money. It's much more evil to me.
Yeah. What about Saint Nectarius? You said again, please.
No, it's the movie Man of God. It's
Yes.
it was very good for me to hear that that movie brought someone let's say
Yes.
closer to God in some ways. Yeah.
I advise if Christian apologist when he went
Yeah.
because of that, I advise him then to go to Greece, to Aina, to visit Saint Nectarius. The island there is beautiful.
Mm,
The Saint Nectarius been buried in there, and it's lovely. I've been there. It's beautiful, lovely, and everyone should go there. Everyone should go to Greece and visit those monasteries, and especially Saint Nectarius. It's
mm,
lovely, and the declaration they gave it to him after his death. so, so please visit and see the monasteries and those excellent priests who they should be, and bishops and saints they are already praying for us from above.
mm.
Our Lord is the Lord, the God of the living, not God of the dead, and that's what you should keep in your mind.
Yeah.
He's not the God of the dead.
So yeah, and Saint Nectarius was a healer, like so a miracle worker, and they say even now, as you pointed out, he intercedes on our behalf through prayers. So I mean, the Bible is pretty clear about those that heal, what as a sign as to whether or not they're with God or not. So Christian apologists, uh, why don't you come up? Did you get the link to join us on the panel? You're free to come up if you'd like. But let's continue this video.
Amen.
And then some of you liars Some of you liars say you saw this crying.
Yes.
Am I right?
That's right.
Am I right? Is he manifesting there or what?
Is he
Um,
is his origin was dog or something?
like demon. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
demon or
but
dog or something. Like that.
yeah. So, but
Doberman.
also, sorry,
He's a Doberman or a pit bull or something.
pitbull. Yeah. But notice that now he's also doing the greatest sin of all, which he's blaspheming the Holy Spirit, right? Like he's saying, "Oh, you liars! You're saying there was some kind of miracle through this thing." Arr! Right? Wow.
Yeah.
You say you saw a crying.
Amen.
They said they saw the statues crying in Italy. You saw it somewhere in America, a
Yeah.
crying statue.
Right.
Now, if I hit her, she should cry.
That's right.
Okay. So now we see more of how he feels. There's a problem that this stuff is in Italy. Because we all know that what is it? The Illuminati is guilty for everything, all the evils in the world, and this kind of thing. Italy is the most evil place in the world, and whatever. Anyway.
All right?
Go ahead.
She should cry. If this got power,
Amen.
something's wrong.
That's right.
He doesn't know. He
Mary
doesn't know
did
this
nothing yet.
idiot
That's
that this is like any icon, like anything. It's to represent. It's not the actual thing. You
Right.
know.
Exactly.
It's not Saint Mary as Saint Mary or a saint as a saint or an icon. It will be like it's just to represent. No one pray for the statue as a statue. Nobody pray for the icon as an icon. They pray for the saint as he is to basically to pray for us. Or to Saint Mary as a saint to pray for us as she told our Lord Jesus to change, let's say, the wine, to make wine in the festive and the wedding, and they made wedding at the time, make wine, because at the time he didn't start his ministry yet. And then the Lord Jesus Christ, even with that, he obeyed, although he is the Lord, he is her Lord. He is not just her son, he is her Lord. With that, he didn't disobey his mother on earth. In fact, because he respect his mother, he did obey. He did help and did give them wine, So this idiot doesn't know that any piece of clay does not represent anything but a clay. But as it is, as a statue, it's an art to represent, or to teach about certain person or certain thing happen. Like if an icon showing the risen Lord from, it will show, and they will write, let's say, on it, Jesus has risen, indeed has risen. Or they will write on it something to show stuff like that, remembrance, as Janice said. So exactly, to teach. And in the previous period, they used to teach people by drawings, by statues,
Right.
by stuff like that. And this idiot's coming from the end of nowhere, to just demolish, like Muslims demolish
Right.
our statues or our let's say icons, or even our churches. I bet he will be breaking our churches for no reason. Idiots.
Yeah. Even the cross, attacking the cross. Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed out. That's very important. Like the example that we see in Scripture, for those that believe in Scripture and Scripture only, it's like the woman who grabs the garment of Christ. She's not grabbing the garment of Christ because the garment itself has magical power, but because Jesus Christ is wearing it, and she feels like only if she can just touch the garment, because she's not worthy. She's not worthy. And Jesus Christ doesn't rebuke her for it, but praises her. It's like, hey, you know what? Your faith is so powerful that you believe that merely by extension, touching something that touches me,
The
has
faith, brother.
special value.
The faith, brother. Yeah.
So, but instead, this man would rebuke that and attack that and spit on that very thing. So, I mean, not only is he hating on Christianity, but in some ways, he's saying that his view is greater than that of Jesus Christ himself, because this is not what Jesus Christ preaches.
In every step in the Bible, you see that the Lord said, "Your faith has healed you." Don't you read that in every step when the Lord healed, let's say, the blind or anything? Even when He raised Lazarus, He asked Martha and He asked Mary. They were Martha and Mary. And he asked her about if she believed, and she said yes, she believed. And in fact, she told him, if you were here, you would heal him. He wouldn't die. That much you've got faith in him. That much you've got faith. So, and then he raised Lazarus. That much they have faith. So their faith will raise dead people. You know. So it is about faith in the Lord, not about idiot like that.
Right. And now that we're on the subject about the idols, worshiping idols, there's the common argument among Protestants that Catholics and Orthodox worship idols, and that is against the Ten Commandments. There's a couple of responses to that. The first being, when Christ says, "Keep my commandments," he doesn't name that commandment. And looking in retrospect now, I can understand why. I mean, that is the all-knowing wisdom of Jesus Christ. To jump ahead and say, well, you know what? If I repeat that, that's going to be a problem. So let's not. So look that up yourselves. Take a good look at that. But also, when we talk about the Ten Commandments, including that one, we've got to look at the context. The context was, from Adam and Eve, you were either continued a relationship with God, or you deviated and you began to worship nature and left yourself susceptible to Satan. And so that continued, of course, with the Jews and their pagan cults and their worship of Baal and all these things. So that was addressing those people, those pagans. Okay, they were worshiping things that were of the earth. They were worshiping animals and demons and all these satanic things, nature worship. So, and that's what the Ten Commandments is addressing, those graven idol images, okay? Not images of Jesus Christ. And we'll see how this hatred for others, the sense of superiority, turns into, well, let's call it what it is, a hypocritically Nazi, fascist, anti-Christian malice.
Shit.
Mary, she gonna have to do something. You hear what I'm talking?
Amen. Amen.
I'll do it.
Amen.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm heartbroken.
If you think
Yes.
that
I don't know if you will keep going with it. There is anything out of it, brother?
Yeah, I mean, let's keep going because I want to get to the end too. I want to hear what you have to say. But yeah, it's. I know this is difficult to watch, but it's important that we do it because, well, you'll see. Let's keep going.
this statue couldn't even stop a hammer.
That's right. That's right.
Many of you bowed into this little image on the cross. He done lost his
All
head.
what I can say, that forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. As the Lord said, as the Lord Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing. That's all.
Yeah. Well, he knows what I mean, to some degree. I mean, you're right, but he also, to some degree, he does know what he's doing. I mean, he might be ignorant of what we're talking about.
As much as the Jews knew, Jews knew when they tried to crucify Jesus Christ, they sent him to Pilatus. Same thing. They knew.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
And he forgave.
Some of these people that were raised in certain cultures and certain circles, and they keep hearing the same thing. It's an echo chamber, and they go to their seminaries, which also teach these same things. And so, therefore, you're right. There is ignorance. And by definition, that is prejudice, malice or hatred out of ignorance, slander out of ignorance. I mean,
yes,
I don't know if that excuses it, but you are correct. It is ignorant.
They were brought up on that, you know that.
I'm sorry.
Look, he's hammering Jesus. He's
Yeah,
hammering
exactly.
Jesus.
And that's why I wanted to continue. I mean, you can see how where this malice, well, it starts with something small, let's say, if you want to call that small, and then it develops straight into superiority. You're above God. You're preaching things that are contradicting Jesus Christ, and then you're smashing the very image of Christ Himself, in an air of malicious,
Yeah.
hypocritical supremacy.
Yeah,
Look
I don't
at
think
it.
this
Look at
is
the
wrong.
image. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing. Long
And
live
it's
God.
happened.
There you go. There's your supremacy, and everybody, the mob crowd, everyone's jeering. Like, yes.
Bear in
That's-
mind, it is on the Huda TV.
So what is Huda TV?
I
I'm glad you
just
brought that up too.
at the Huda TV where you could see this what's his name, like Zad, where you can see Asim al-Hakim, similar to Asim al-Hakim, where you can see the Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, or where you can see what's his name, the other guy, the Huda TV. You could see this other Sheikh. What's his name? Hold on, I will get you his name.
Yeah, I'm
What's
not.
his name? Mufti Mink. This kind of
Oh
TVs.
no, that guy! Oh, that guy makes
Yes.
physical makes you want to vomit. Literally.
Yeah, it's an Egyptian TV.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right. All right. Let's continue. There's two more points I want to get to.
Amen.
Long live God. God is the greatest.
Amen.
God is the greatest. God is the greatest.
You hear what he's saying? God is the greatest. After doing what he just did, he's shouting, "God is the greatest." Allahu Akbar.
Which God though?
Right. Exactly.
This is the question.
Exactly. Even Satan is called
Which
Satan
God
God.
you follow? Yeah. Even Satan is God for some people. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and again, in the same spirit, he's showing God is greatest. So, I mean, again, that is exactly what the Muslims shout. Allah.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyway,
Uh,
but
Look at the title. Look at the title at the bottom. Is that your video, brother, or they wrote it? Because at the bottom they said,
yeah,
"Is he saying Allahu Akbar?"
yeah, that's me. That's me.
Allah.
Yeah,
That's you. That's
Allah.
you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Allah Akbar. So this is, yeah. I mean, this is a
Akbar.
congregation, a mob think of people hating maliciously, hypocritically, and all are fooled.
Yeah.
All of them are being fooled right now. While they're projecting,
Yes.
he starts all this with saying, "You people are liars. You people are deceived. Your people, and look at what he's doing." Let me show this
Yes.
one last thing, and if you don't mind commenting on where it's from.
Oh yeah.
We didn't hear that. Actually, I sped that up and played it backwards, so you're not going to understand what it says. But I thought it was
Yeah, I
in the
wouldn't.
spirit of Satan. I should play it backwards, sped up. But what is this from? Are you familiar with this by any chance?
No, I don't know this cult. If anyone in the chat would be able to say what type of cult is that, demonic cult is that, you could write it down, please. Would you be able to write it down? Because I don't know. I saw this video long time ago. A couple of them I saw, and it's really disgusting.
Yeah, it's bad. That's the whole point.
It's like ISIS.
Right. And so this little insert closes, "Thou only thou art the knower of things hidden." So clearly this is about Allah. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to point out the parallels here between, um, well, Islam and this kind of spirit. We see a bit of it even in our own circles. I was subjected to it. I was watching one of the streams and one of the channels, and this guy had come up on panel. Everyone was praising him and how wonderful and superior he is, and they still do to this day. And so I started following him, and he was like preaching the Trinity. I was like, okay, well, this guy's pretty safe. Maybe, I can ask him a question. And I asked him a question, and next thing I know, he's like condemning me to hell and being extremely, extremely visceral. and slandering me. And I'm like, well, that's not what I do. And, no, you're going to hell. You're Orthodox. You're going to hell. And just like made a show of it. And the following day, he even made an entire video about orthodoxy and how it's evil. The following day. I mean, that kind of thing is the same thing that we just witnessed here. But the problem is it's also exists in our circles. It's something that we need to call out directly. This is not the correct spirit. There's no love in it. There's no love in that at all. It's quite the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry.
Exactly. You're right.
So from that, the reason I started this presentation today, and I thought it was important to start that because usually we lose some of our audience members after the first 10, 15 minutes. But welcome up, Christian apologist. Thank you for joining us.
And you okay?
Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, you're fine. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Brilliant.
brother, welcome.
I can only find that picture, but I thought it was fitting.
Yeah, I'll try to find it again online. You could find it. I can't remember how I found it before, but right now I only have the original video. But I'll share it in the description. If I don't find it by the end of the stream, I'll share it in the description after the stream's over.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
Would you like to say a little about yourself? Introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, sure. So I go under the name of Christian apologist, obviously to protect myself. I don't know if many people on here have subscribed to my channel, but I do kind of, you've seen for yourself the kind of content that I do. Kind of have a laugh, make a bit of a mockery out of some things that I see. And I've tried to, have debates with people like Hamza, Muhammad Ajab, Ali Dawa, stuff like that. I find Christianity at my lowest point. Thanks be to God. But when I came out of prison, I kind of didn't know what denomination to join. And although I was still studying the Bible really, really hard, I was also studying Islam as well. And until I reached the Hadiths, and I think I got through half of the Quran before I knew it wasn't right. And then, basically it was just finding that church because I read Revelations, and I was just adamant there can only be one true church. It's got to be just one denomination. They can't all be right, and they all have different beliefs. And I was finding myself going to one different one, and they would say that this denomination was wrong for this, and their Christians are going to hell. And then I'll go to another one, and then I just realized, well, hang on, they're all the Protestant ones. I was thinking, which one was the one that Jesus established? So I looked into all the history, and then I come across the Didache. And I never knew this this book ever existed. And as soon as I read that, I was like, it's got to be the Eastern Orthodox. I read the epistles of Polycarp and some of the other church fathers, and that just definitely made my mind up. And I think it was in the same week, that Man of God came up. And I watched that, and I thought, if I could be a Christian like anyone, it would have to be like that guy. It was the only movie, apart from Marley and Me, because I love dogs, the only movie that I've ever watched that has actually made me cry.
Wow.
And it's because I would consider myself, I'm quite a tough guy. I'm hard to break, if you know what I mean. I don't really cry easily, but that really, especially at the end when he died, and he says, "Is that you, my lord?" Oh, wow. I watched it, funnily enough, the other night again, and it did the same thing. And when I found that prayer, the Jesus prayer, and I've been attending, I've attended a few Orthodox churches, and I'm currently doing my catechism. but yeah, so I started saying the Jesus prayer for the first time in my car, and again, it just brought me to tears. And I just knew it was right then. It felt right. The first ever service I went to was during Pasha, and it was just amazing atmosphere. You could feel the presence of God there. It was just not. You knew you were in the truth. You were amongst the truth, and since then it's stuck. So, yeah,
it's definitely one of those things that you have to experience. It's hard to put in words. The Pascha experience that you're talking about.
it's like the Orthodox saying, isn't it? Come and see. You know,
Right.
That's what everyone said to me. Every priest that I rang and said, "Oh, I've got a couple of questions." They've all turned around and said, "No, don't ask the question. Just come and see." You know, and you go, and you know.
May I
But,
suggest another book to read?
yeah, sure. I've probably read it
Because
already
you
because
mentioned,
I've got loads.
yeah, you mentioned the Lord's Prayer. Now there is two books speaking about it, but one of them is the easiest to read. Then you go to the second whenever you want. Uh,
Mm,
I have it. I have both of them. I think on my Google Drive. I can post it for you.
yeah,
And
sure.
yeah, let me get the link, and you'll find I think it's called Way of Pilgrimage in English.
The Way of the
I have it
Pilgrim.
in
Yeah,
Arabic.
that's a
Yeah,
good one.
I have it in Arabic too, and it's
Okay.
about the praying without ceasing, as Saint Paul said.
Yeah,
So it was all seeking how to pray without ceasing, yeah, and
yeah,
about the Lord's Prayer. And to go back to that, then you have the Philokalia. The book called Philokalia is
yeah,
a really great book you can read. It's a three parts book, but you can read first if you want the first one I'm telling you. You can download it from my Google Drive. Um Let me give it to you some in the chat, and then
yeah,
you can see that how powerful is this uh, prayer.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just simple prayer, you know.
No,
So
it is lovely.
Mm. And let me
yeah,
just, for the audience members, don't that book, Way of the Pilgrim, is not to be confused with the Pilgrim's Tale. Those are two different books, two different stories. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen that one. I've seen that one as well.
So
But
I
since I've
I
joined,
posted.
well, go on.
No, go ahead. I'm
Sorry,
posting the link.
yeah, I was saying since I've started inquiring at the Orthodox Church, it was like obviously I started typing in things that I might need to, like for prayer and stuff like that. And before I knew it, I had someone send me. I put on this Facebook group. I said, "Look, I'm new to Orthodoxy. What kind of stuff will I need to help me along with my faith?" And then they said, someone said, "Have you got a prayer corner?" I was like, "No, what's that?" And before you knew it, I've had about, I don't know, I think I got about 10, 15 icons in
right.
total that people sent to me. Then someone sent me the Orthodox Study Bible. They actually bought it for me off Amazon and sent it to me. I couldn't believe it. And
Nice.
then I've got so many other books like the writings of Philo of Alexandria,
Wow.
an Orthodox prayer book, and then the one by Timothy Ware, the Orthodox Church,
Mm.
and so many other prayer books that were sent to me. And then I was sent incense. I've sent the whole prayer corner that I've got. I sent
Wow.
every single thing for it from one post that I put on. It was just incredible. People were just asking me for my address. And there was people. I had one icon sent to me all the way from America, and
Wow.
then I got in touch with this one guy called Anthony Brighton, who he makes icons here in the UK,
Yes.
and he actually made me one. And he said, when you get baptized and you've chosen your saint, he said, tell me which the saint is, and I'll do you one for free, big one. So the generosity and kindness I've been shown, not only that, I've already picked my godfather as well. And I had a procedure not so long back. I had a TIPS procedure done in surgery, which is a stent in my liver. And I had my gallbladder removed at the same time.
Wow.
Sorry for that.
And
Sorry.
yeah. And my the guy who's supposed to be like my godfather at the church, like, he barely knows me, but he come in and he was there waiting for me after whilst I was having my operation. Then he went home, come back, and he bought me food in from the family. His daughter made me a cheesecake. Absolutely, I just couldn't believe it. Like the kindness and the love. And they basically took me in, and they've invited. I haven't been yet, but they've invited me to so many family barbecues that they've had last year, and because they class me as family, true family now. I just love that. I just think it's so amazing, to be invited into that, because my family's a bit bit up in the air, but to say the least. But this is it's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing all that, Christian apologist. I really
If
appreciate
you
it.
don't mind me, keep going, brother. Go ahead, say it.
No, that's it. I was just going to say. Well, let me. Yeah,
If
let
you
me just
don't
say a
mind
couple-
me asking,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
All right. So I just wanted to say a couple of quick disclaimers, but please remember your question there, Amir.
Yeah.
So first, let me just say for the audience members, we're not attacking Protestantism. I hope it doesn't sound like that. At least I personally value Protestantism. They do things. I think that we're all the body of Christ. And I know some Orthodox like cringe when people like me say things like that. But yeah, but the thing is that, listen, like we all have different upbringings, we all have different circles. And so we all have different contributions to God's work. There's not many Orthodox people, for example. I'm not saying there's not at all, which is a lie, but there's not many that will go up to strangers, for example, and start, preaching the gospel, or even lay hands on them for healing and these kinds of things. And I've witnessed things that Protestants have done that I don't usually witness other places. And I'm not saying that again doesn't happen. I mean, the Catholic Church, the Church, have centuries upon centuries of evangelism. Otherwise, Christianity wouldn't have spread like it did. But yeah, it's just that, yeah, we're not attacking it again. It's just, but we are addressing, or at least I'm addressing here today in the stream. That's the point. And that's why I started it the way I did, of that exact thing, of those Protestants that do that condemn others to hell. They are the biggest problem, period. Not only the biggest problem in Christianity, the biggest problem in the world. And what do I mean by that? When you look at Hollywood movies, there's two major tropes that Hollywood uses to attack Christianity. The one we're all familiar with, the Illuminati, the pedophile Catholic priest. That's one big one. And yes, that is wrong. No one makes excuses for that. No one's saying that should be. That is wrong, absolutely. And that is a big problem, and it is being addressed. The other biggest problem, greater than that, if I may, is those that are running around playing God and condemning people to hell, and thereby taking them away from God, chasing them off. How many ex-Christians go around saying, well, you know what, I've got, uber religious parents, I got sick of it, and so I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I mean, and then you look at Hollywood movies, there's way more, fanatic Bible thumpers, quote unquote, being used to undermine Christianity, to portray it in a negative light, versus the Christian pedophiles. So even Hollywood is employing that more. So all around, and then of course what Christ says about that. I mean, let's not overlook that one. That small detail, right? So all around is just bad. And that's what I'm rebuking today, and showing you what it leads to. It leads to absolute ethnic cleansing, and we need to stop that. But that being said, of course, I value all who love Jesus Christ, who do the work of God.
Amen.
Sorry, maybe you're going to say something before?
I wanted to ask our brother if, because he said about his parents, and I wanted to ask him one single question. If his parents, let's say, left him somehow because he became Orthodox,
Mine.
it might. Yeah, because I know a few friends, family of Christ, they became Orthodox and their families left them, cut them out
Yeah.
because they became Orthodox.
No, I
You know,
am. I haven't.
go ahead.
Shall we? Was there? Okay. Well, let's, just for the sake of time, hope you guys don't mind if I go right back to the presentation. Was there anything else that we wanted to
No,
say?
please go ahead.
All right, let's go for it. And I'm going to try to zip through it like I did the last one. But
One more thing before you keep going.
right.
I want to ask everyone to pray for our brother's health and to keep him in faith and for his health because he need every prayer. Please keep praying for him. Thank you.
Amen.
Please go ahead, Nicodemus.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, going back to this, how this biblical quote, "There is neither Jew nor Greek," how that's used in some circles with a certain passion, we just witnessed. And I'm going to address today what that leads to and what has been going on with Greeks that you won't hear. You hear the exact opposite about Greeks and all that. But let me ask you this question. Now, our brother here, Christian apologist, has shared how the movie Man of God has brought him closer to God um, through orthodoxy. So that's great. And there's absolutely redeeming value in everything. We've seen that, of course, in one of the greatest examples in Scripture. There's many, actually, it's countless. But with Saul, Saint Paul, I mean, does it get much more redeeming than that, right? So, but with that being said, we also got to be honest about the evils. We've got it's my belief that the truth is our sword, and we've got to fight, combat these evils with the truth, rebuke it as soon as we see it, to end it before it becomes a bigger problem. And this is something I've been trying to do since around the turn of the century, when I noticed that mass media was undermining Greeks, and I was like, wait a minute. Again, being raised in the United States, I had no idea of Greek history. The only thing I was taught was mythology and the gods, and we went in great detail about what each god was and what they can do, but nothing about anything after Christ and the Christian church in Greece and the Greek people, or World War II and their contributions there, for example. I mean, and nothing about Greece at all. They just suddenly disappeared after Christianity somehow. Which is not the case. And I'm going to present that argument here too today. So, yeah, I mean, after post-Renaissance, it was clear there was a reason they focused on the negative portrayals, but or on the pagan society, pre-Christian pagan society of Greece, and nothing but. But also, let me share with you guys. Well, there's only 3 examples in my lifetime that I personally witnessed that were positive about Greeks. One is Hercules, and then again, that's not always positive. We'll talk about that briefly. But that's one positive thing. But again, that is appealing to pre-Christian ancient Greek society, something that was popularized again in the Renaissance. And on that note, why is it that non-Greeks created this Renaissance, made it popular, continued to popularize it to this day, yet somehow some people are blaming the Greeks for that? How does that work? But anyway, so the other thing was Cheers from the 80s. There was a TV series where people will congregate in a bar. It was really popular. It lasted for about a decade, which is tremendous in any TV series. So a huge success. In that episode, in the late 80s, I believe I believe it was the 88 election, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's about right. The 88 election, somewhere around there, 90 election, something like that. There was George Bush Sr. and Michael Dukakis were fighting each other for presidency. Michael Dukakis actually had the lead in the polls. And then a week before the elections, he decided to go on television and celebrate with the Greek people for the first time. And he was doing, the Greek dancing and all that. And next thing you know, the following day in media is like, what a mistake that was for him. People are, not going to like that. And he lost. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I met the man personally. Really sweet guy. Politician, really nice guy. But here's the thing. He's a Democrat. And I was thinking about showing you guys the clip of the scene in Cheers where it's the intro, and at the very beginning, Michael Dukakis does a guest appearance, and the two main actors, Ted Danson and Norm, as they called him, we're like, oh, Michael Dukakis, woo, let's praise him. They're literally worshiping the guy, but he's a Democrat, so. And I'm not Republican Democrat. I'm just pointing it out because Democrats are in the forefront of attacking Christianity. So that's one positive example. A Greek that was upheld. We have Hercules, pre-ancient Greek history. We have Dukakis, Democrat, who Democrats attack Christianity. And then more recently, we have this Greek prime minister who was very austere with the lockdown dictates and was praised by Western media for his authoritarian approach to that. So sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you heard, obviously, because you're in the United States, and obviously the equivalent to the Democrats here would be now the Labour Party, and we have Liberal Democrats as well. But the Labour Party, what you'd call left-wing politics, and what's gone on recently, you won't believe. They're actually calling now, because we used to, when I was at school, we used to have to sing prayers. We used to do prayers and sing hymns, in the assembly hall.
Wow.
Every morning, and that's all gone. That's long gone. And we used to do nativity as well every Christmas. Every school did. It was just normal. Then that changed. So I don't even know when, but it changed. Recently, they've actually been calling. At the moment, because of the war, everyone's pro-Islam at the moment and pro-Hamas because of the war. And some of the scenes you'll see in London is absolutely horrendous over here. And the anti-Semitism that comes with it is, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
But there's people actually calling now, especially among the LGBT community, for the Bible to be banned.
Right.
And they actually want verses that are from the Bible to not be in public. They're calling for there was a lady not so long back. She's been arrested twice now. She was about 10 feet away from a abortion clinic, and she was praying in her mind, not with words, not moving her lips, just praying with her thoughts. And the police came and they arrested her, and they asked her to move. And she said, look, I just want to pray for the children that are in there, and that would never be. And the police officer, they arrested her, and she went back a week later, and it was a different police officer that arrested her. So she's been arrested twice for the same thing, praying outside without doing a thing wrong. Yet, literally 3 days ago, one of the pro-Palestine marches, they had a projector on our Parliament building and the Tower of Ben, the clock, showing from the river to the sea.
Oh,
so
wow.
promoting, what do you call the killing of the Jews? Yeah. And there's a video of a police officer and he was stood right next to the projector. And they've been given new powers by the government to arrest, but they're too scared. They won't do it. They're absolutely petrified. We've even had 2 MPs resign in the past week from the Conservative Party because they've been having they've had petrol bombs being put into their offices, all sorts. I mean, the way it is over here is absolutely terrible. Even one of the candidates that was going to stand in a by-election for one of the towns, he was refused by 4 Muslim men to actually go in the center and speak to the people of that area on why he should be, chosen to be the electorate for that place. And they wouldn't let him in. They said that he wasn't allowed to speak and that you'd have to sit at the back. And they refused him to come in. And this is a big problem because it's the same with the church. Like you said, Christians are being persecuted now, and massively over here, absolutely massively. And the Muslims now, they try and get into people's heads, especially during these pro-Palestinian marches. People are putting up tents saying Jesus was a Muslim, and they're getting into people's heads by using statements like that. Jesus was a Muslim, which makes people go, was he? And then they go along and chat, and then they get brainwashed, and then before you know it, they're taking their shahada. There's even videos of like 8-year-old kids that weren't with their parents, and these men have made them take their shahada, filmed it, and put it on their dawah channels all over YouTube. It is so I was just saying, like, with the Christian persecution thing over here in the UK, it is bad. I mean, really bad. They're shutting down churches and they are literally turning them in to mosques. And I think there's the amount of churches to mosques now, I think, is in the mosque's favor, including Protestants. And my church, the one that I go to, we haven't even got a priest. We have services, Orthodox service liturgy, once a fortnight, and that's if we can get a priest from somewhere else to come and do it for us. Because if not, then we don't have a service. Because the church we have was an ex-Church of England one, but a guy, an Orthodox Christian, bought it. He was a priest as well, and then he died. And now we have no priest because it doesn't come with a property for anyone to live in. So, yeah, so I can completely understand, I have to travel sometimes up to 30 miles just to go to a service. But if I wanted to go to a mosque, there's one literally I can walk to. So when that's what I just thought I'd chip in and say something whilst you were mentioning that, because at the moment, like you say, in America, it's pretty bad. But in the UK, I think we're going to be the first to see I'd say the attempted destruction of Christianity. Definitely.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I wanted to touch upon, but I wasn't sure. So that was perfect. I mean, that's exactly how I feel. Again, I'm not claiming to be some kind of prophet or anything like that, or psychic or anything like that. But I am saying that I've been paying close attention to mass media messaging and the patterns there and what it's been saying. And after a while, I became prophetic in sense in that I can see where they were trying to lead the collective psyche, where they were trying to push on us, what their agenda was, what they were trying to normalize, as I say, and what was going to happen next. And,
you can see it, can't you? Yeah. If you pay attention to it, it don't take long before you realize where it's heading. Yeah.
And so things have become expedited. Let me say 2 things. When it comes to that kind of messaging, I used to be like, it took them a few years. Now it's just like a few months. I mean, because of all the, as much as we're invested in media now, the internet and all that. I mean, even the Chinese that again, I work with, and they brag about how they know for a fact that if they just advertise, they will get a certain percentage of people to click on whatever. All right. So it's an exact science what they're doing here. So we need to be mindful of that and warn others and detach ourselves from it. I mean, I know this sounds kind of productive, but
have you seen their version of TikTok? in comparison to ours.
Yeah, exactly. TikTok. I mean, that's something that even these circles are pushing now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, why are we Discord? Why are we migrating to the communists and putting our lives, most of our waking moments in their control, and they are recording everything, by the way. This is not.
Yeah, of course.
But look, why shouldn't I, let's say, go to TikTok while YouTube is, let's say, blocking us every time
Oh yeah. Well,
for every small thing, or even Twitter, whatever called X now, or
yeah.
Facebook. If I share, let's say, post for Tommy Robinson for no reason. Last time I shared it, just retweeted and being blocked for
Yeah.
no reason. Once I commented on one of the ministers, I've been blocked as well. So they don't want you
Yeah.
to speak. So why should I stay
No.
with them? I will
Yeah.
take. I
Free
will take
speech is gone.
communist. Exactly. I will take communists over them. You can say anything over, let's say, on TikTok. Yes, they
I
will stop you at a certain level, but it's much better. Basically, if Muslims keep complaining over your videos, then you'll be blocked. Otherwise, they don't care.
Yeah.
You
Well,
even
yeah.
use the words here, 2 words, Islamic extremism. You use those 2 words as a politician here. You have to leave, pies. This is what's
Yeah.
going on here
Wow.
massively.
You
And
can't even
Actually,
use.
let me tell you, let's say you spoke about Christmas
Wow.
and celebrating it. Didn't you see last Ramadan? Sadiq Khan celebrated all over Londonistan. So,
oh yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they call
they
it. Yeah,
didn't
we do
celebrate
call it
Christmas.
Londonistan. It's
Yeah, they
horrible.
didn't.
When you,
It is
my great
horrible.
grandparents fought for this country, lost limb and life
Exactly.
for it, and I'm voting reform for. I mean, you guys in America, I think you're pretty much safe. As for if you're going to get Trump, because you got someone that would actually look after you. But if we get Starmer, to look after, we're that's it. We're talking open borders, even though they're open already. We've got an area. So say, because England, the UK is not that big. We're only a small island, and we've had an area, a population size of our second biggest city, which was first before London was the capital. Birmingham was actually was going to be considered the capital city because it's in the heart of the UK. And we have had an area, the population size of Birmingham, which is massive, come in just 1 year, just by dinghies alone. Just by dinghies. And these people seeking asylum, we're putting them in hotels, giving them £150 a week to spend on what they want. They've got access to dentists. I haven't even seen a dentist for years because we can't get on it. They get given iPads to contact family, and then they go missing, and no one does anything about it. It's just absolutely crazy. And then at the same time, they're on the streets doing these pro-Palestinian marches, preaching anti-Semitism, telling people that Jesus was a Muslim. And there's some areas in the UK that it's been like it for a long time now. But if you walk there, white and English, you're going to get stabbed. And
Exactly. Don't forget Sharia
sad.
court and yeah, there is Sharia court and there is Sharia police and Sharia court.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you say we don't know no to Sharia law here, we get done for racism. It's called Islam.
Islamophobia.
Yeah, Islamophobia.
Wow. Yeah, and it's funny that you can't even say Islamic extremism without getting in trouble. That was actually how that was a label that they used to be an apologetic for Islam, but you can't even do that anymore. Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane. So let me just say, let me go back as far as what want to say. Why is everyone migrating to TikTok and X Twitter? Things like that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go and be content creators. I mean, by all means, I should be ashamed of myself for not being, for years now, more active on all these other channels. I decided to boycott them instead, but now I regret that. I should have been active and been a voice in those channels all these years. But anyway, coulda, shoulda. It's not too late. I'm going to get that done too. What I am saying though is, why are some content creators encouraging other people to migrate there and be passive consumers? And that's what I'm concerned about. You know, and also this is a recurring theme in our streams here, is the BRICS. To me, and again, I have no solid proof of this, but other than an insider in one of the streams, they also talked about this and they got zapped for it.
Yeah,
and he was like,
about.
yeah, he was some kind of intelligence guy. He was like a guest, and he talked about it openly. And for some reason, yeah, the whole channel got shut down for a while and all that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, other than that kind of proof, I don't have any solid proof. But you judge them by the fruits. It's pretty evident that Islamic money, Chinese, Japanese control over media, and even all the offshoring, outsourcing going on in India. I mean, they're controlling finances and all that for major companies, and their Bollywood and all these things. And of course, Russia for decades. I mean, people are still denying that Russian communism has influence over the world. And you're hated upon if you bring that up. You know, and again, Brazil. I was for years now. I've been wondering, why is Brazil being made so popular? Why is you know, what's so special about Brazil? I mean, it's pagan. It's, you know, well, BRICS. There you go. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of evidence that way when you judge the fruits, and it's a problem because all of this is anti-Christian. Sorry,
because of the big fat Greek wedding,
right?
There is. Is it because of that? Because they are orange and apples families. The
Right, we'll
Miller
get
are
to that. I hope you're trying. Yeah, okay, you are. You're trying to make light. Exactly. That's exactly right, Amir. I'm talking about the virtual ethnic cleansing. And again, Greeks and people, you know, Greeks were laughing about it, but even though they were offended, it was obvious what was going on. But you know, this kind of silence, this kind of, okay, you know, we need to be quote unquote open-minded, right? Look at what it has allowed to set in. You know. Okay, so look, let me also say now that maybe a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, I made the declaration on Fascist Book, which I've been kicked off of, but also, you know, to a priest wife, a friend of mine, like, look, I'm warning you, be aware, we are no longer in a normalization thing that people are going on about, or it's about money or anything. Well, this is not about normalizing things anymore. We are now officially in the implementation phase. Christians are being hunted. Okay, and I said that declaration before the school shooting in Tennessee or any of these things. And why did I say that? Because of what mass media was doing. And here we are now, and our brother Christian apologist shared that in UK is one of the major crowns worldwide, a major controller. Yet now it has succumbed to Islam. It's not a small thing.
It's very worrying.
Yeah, it is. But you know, again, there's I mean, Christ is already victorious. That's not poppycock. That's just not just rhetoric. It's a reality. So, but in the meantime, we can't sit on our laurels. We can't sit on our hands. We've got to be active. We've got to push back.
That's true. And I mean, we could bring it to light when you're ready for it. But then there was also that big rise in what I was speaking to you on the topic that I did the other day on my channel in regards to that new religion that is, well, I say new, it's new to the UK, but it has become very popular and it is very dangerous. I mean, we can talk about that a bit later on after we've done this if you want, but yeah.
Speaking about your channel, brother, would you be able to post your link, please?
Yeah,
please.
We'll add it in the description, but yeah, we can sure know. Thank you. But as far as people not being able to hear the truth, I'm so glad that people that watch this stream put up with my ho-hum negativity about Islam, and they're destroying these movies. I've had a couple people beg me, don't do Big Bang Freak Wedding. I love that movie. Don't do it, because they know I'm just going to rip right into it.
But rather, Islam is negative anyway. You cannot speak positive about Islam. Give me one positive thing about Islam, and I will send someone to convert, not me. But however, nothing is positive about it.
If you have a look on my YouTube, you'll find that you'll be very entertained at some of the shorts that I've done. Nicodemus has been, haven't you?
Yeah, they're hilarious. So those
I do take quite a joy in winding Hamza up on quite the occasion. That's if I do manage to get onto Hamza's den, because he's kind of figured out my accent by now. But he's terrible. But he's been. I mean, now he barely goes to Speaker's Corner, which is quite famous in Britain. That's where we have the major debates between Christianity and Islam and other topics. But over there is just as bad. We actually had one of our preachers go missing a couple of months back. Hatun Tash. Did you know her?
Yeah. She's okay. Like, a lot of people were concerned about that. I mean, a lot of us were ready to like overturn things, like get active there to find out what's going on with her. But you know, the people that were close to her said they've spoken to her, not only through messages, but they've spoken to her directly, and she's okay. They can't talk about what's going on. She can't talk about what's going on.
No. But something has happened, and it's worrying.
Nothing confirmed, you know that. Only
she's already been stabbed in the head.
Yeah.
She, you know, and it's a worry that people can't go down just a Speaker's Corner, which is historically known for everyone to be able to voice their opinion without anyone being hurt, arrested, or anything. And
I tell you,
the Dawa teams
maybe the police hid her somewhere.
Pardon?
Maybe the police hid her somewhere because they don't want her to cause some problems. They will tell her, yes, it's for your protection, while they don't want her to cause any more problems, in their opinion. You know, they are stupid somehow.
Well, she had many death threats. I mean, even Bob goes down there. You know, they call Bob the Builder from Socko Films.
Yeah.
And he speaks very authoritatively. He speaks about Christianity with authority. And he is the reason that Hamza doesn't come to Speaker's Corner very much, because every time he sees him, Bob's had enough. Because every time he's talking to someone, a Dawa team would come over, interrupt, and try and take that person and, you know, start brainwashing them, saying that Bob's a liar and they've got all this content about him doing this. And that's just a load of rubbish. But people buy it. And, basically, Bob's now started to do what they do to him. He starts interrupting their Dawa. And he does it deliberately, and he started to film it. It's pretty... I fear for him. I do fear for him, but you know, he's had enough, and you can see it. And he's like I said, luckily, one of the reasons he's managed to get Hamza out, because they had this massive debate and he won, and it was in front of so many people, and Hamza walked off because he was just embarrassed. And it was amazing. It was just an amazing thing for Christianity. Even though he's obviously he's non-orthodox and stuff, but he is well learned on the scriptures, and he's also well learned on Islam. And there was just some things that Hamza was coming out with, saying about Paul, the apostle, didn't have a vision and stuff, and it was just a load of rubbish. He was saying that the Pharisees and the Sadducees were different people to what we're claiming them to be, and that they didn't give him authority to go and kill and persecute the Christians, and that he probably was already a Christian before he said that he had this sight of Jesus, or this encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus. So he was trying to preach that, and Bob came over and really ripped into it. And even then, Muhammad Hijab, I mean, my advert's still out there, and I hope he sees this video. if anyone does want to forward it on to him, yeah, Mohammed Ajab, I do accept your invitation for the Christian you want to have a boxing match with. You're more than welcome to invite me. I keep saying this.
That makes two of us. Yeah, never mind boxing. I'd rather do the MMA thing.
Did you see the video that he did? He said he did it about 2 years ago, and he said, if there's any Christian out there who wants to have a fight with me, a boxing match, he was saying, Islam versus Christianity goes, whoever wins is right. We'll have it nail on the head. And he said, and I was like, okay, all right. So every time I've like tried to get on the channel, I've told him, I'm here. Can we box? I think he's checked me out, and I think he's thought, I don't really want to.
I've been saying for a while I want a piece of that guy. I had no idea. Put the challenge out. That's tempting. That's really, really tempting.
Yeah,
Janice is correct. Don't let him take his shirt off. He shaved. He shaved it well and prepared for the Chinese and all. So.
So to be honest, I'm not familiar with Hamza. So you said that he's not really coming to Speaker's Corner as much anymore. He's kind of hiding.
No, not at all. Yeah, he's blamed it on the fact that he's got his own hijab shop. Now he's opened up a hijab shop where he sells Muslim women clothing. I don't know what his wife approves of that, but then again, it's all right, isn't it? You can have some concubines. But yeah, he's also got a lot of properties in Dubai and stuff. He's part of all. He's if you're friends with him over there, you're gonna make it, aren't you? And if he's telling princes and stuff like that he's met over there that he's spreading dawah in the UK, and he's helping them radicalize us, I'm sure they're gonna love him. So yeah, he's got lots of freedom.
Halal cat food, brother. They're selling halal cat food. And I don't know how halal it is, because how can they make for a cat food halal? I wonder that.
Well, basically, they say a prayer before they kill the animal, don't they? They say, well, apparently they say Allahu Akbar, and that's it, and then they slit the throat of the animal. It's
cat food, brother.
Chicken's chicken, isn't it? Do you know what? I was worried when I was a teenager, though, when KFC first put, we are now selling halal chicken. I was like, oh no, what's that? Is that a chicken from abroad or something? I didn't know what it was. I was worried, but yeah, it's just it's chicken.
I wouldn't go in, man. It's stupid.
No. I haven't come across halal pork, funnily enough.
Apparently, they are advocating for something like that on YouTube. Halal pork somehow.
Wow.
I saw it somewhere. Yeah, I should get
made in China.
Yeah, halal pork. I saw it somewhere. I should dig for it again.
All right. So in honor of Hamza disappearing and making excuses for it, let me play this.
Just run away, Forrest.
I'll be back.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That boy sure is a running boat.
All right. So let's get back to
Lovely.
Okay, so yeah, let's get back to the presentation. I'm gonna try to zip through as much as we can, so we're not doing any sequels. And
yeah, I'll be quiet. I'm dismantling my Christmas tree. Dismantling my Christmas tree whilst you're doing it.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, we're seeing how mass media is a vehicle to push this ideology. It's a huge one. It's one that's been successful, as we mentioned. It's a matter of numbers. It's a numbers game, and with Islam in particular, you don't need a big majority to change the entire country. So it's problematic all around. But going back to, I call them the St. Louis of Eurasia, Greece. Greece is really in the middle of things. It's a gateway between Europe and Asia, really, geographically, also historically. So it's been through a lot. But in the 20th century, at least from the mid 20th century on, it's been evident that mass media has a problem with Greece. They've gone out of their way to undermine them, especially in the 21st century. We'll get to that too. So one of the things that you might have heard lately, and you may have never ever heard before, are two words that are being used, and this is a covert, subconscious attack on Greece, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, and they need to stop doing it. If they love God, then they need to love everyone else, including the Greeks. Yeah, again, what have the Greeks done to those people? What have the Greeks done to you that's bad, that warrants, this kind of malice? So, but yeah, Draconian was something that was being used regularly through mass media a few years ago. That's disappeared. I guess that was just too difficult to say. So they went with Nefarious. Now everyone's using Nefarious. Through doing that, they're subconsciously projecting blame onto Greeks, just like they do explicitly. Well, the ancient Greeks were pagan, and therefore Biden hates Christianity. What? No. That's not how it works. Okay. I mean, the Greeks ancient Greeks and whatever were accomplished, sure, but they really, in all reality, don't have that much control over what's going on these days at all. And again, how do you blame people that created the Renaissance on the Greeks themselves? It's just wrong on every level. So yeah, let me share this quick video clip. I want to make sure that you guys can see for yourselves exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Share.
As
Sorry.
long as you stopped it, I cannot blame the Greeks nowadays. So at the end, I will tell you how I can blame the Greeks lately. So actually, share your screen. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard anything here. But
Yeah. Well, if you are old enough to remember the preparation for the 2004 Olympics, we'll get to that. It was, at least in the States, for 2 years on every channel. It was extremely visceral and slanderous about how incompetent Greeks are and how horrible. Yeah, it was really bad. And this was before media had done this change, where it's still news networks. Still, their anchors had some integrity, and they would just say the news instead of throw all this adjectives and emotion into it, and basically becoming tabloids. But yeah, it was bad. It was difficult to watch as a Greek. And we'll talk about that in detail too. There's a lot around that. But the recent movie was Fathers 2, 2022. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to watch it. Of course, it has its typical Hollywood constructs and attacks on Christianity in there too. But it's based on a true story. How true that is or not, but there's a particular scene which I like, where the main character goes. He wants to be famous. He's an atheist at this point, and he gets propositioned by this talent agent, and yeah, he lets him have it, which was really cool for me. That was kind of edifying. But one of the lines from this movie is, "Greece ain't a disability. Look it up." I looked it up, or
What's it called?
Father Stew.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these clips here.
Say the word, Blondie, and we can have it.
I'd rather be the love toy of a Greek army battalion.
Who wouldn't?
Okay.
I mean, I usually operate on a cash-only basis. I'm making an exception.
A less popular movie, but this woman is a prostitute. This is a setting during the Great Depression.
Mr. Thamarius.
So he has a Greek name.
Greek.
Okay, so she's like, he's being really slimy and all that.
You have to choose a guy.
This is a more modern superhero movie.
Who's in here? Okay. Who's in there? There's Aries. Oh.
So,
Mr. Stubbs. Oh, he'll be fine. Just a little gastroenteritis.
what's happening now?
That sounds like a Greek woman that owns all those oil tankers.
All right, so I'm sorry, I talked over, but basically, you can see, like, even in a last segment, I mean, and this is just a short list, but it's nothing but negativity. Even in small segments, they kind of throw it in there, like, through movies. Well, I showed you a TV series from the 70s, from the 80s, recent movies, older movies, going far back as Stanley Kubrick's Lolita. There's authorities that portrayed in that in a negative way through the main character, a woman who's portrayed as this horrible person. It's just, I mean, it goes on and on, but it really cranked up in the 21st century. All this slander against Greeks. Okay, so let me, I'm not sharing my screen again. Sorry, 1 second. Let me share my presentation. Do we have any questions about this? Is this news to you guys, or correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, usually when I talk about this with people, they're like, what are you talking about? But
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, right? It's like I've never been to America, so I suppose this is kind of just I don't know, a prerequisition of what I think of America. So when I think of like Trump and America, I think of like Christianity, and like I think of it as a Christian nation. And I can't. It's like, because if we look at, say, the Gospels, I can't imagine why Hollywood or anywhere in America would have a problem with Greeks, because if we look at like the Gospels, I mean, the main manuscripts that we've collected, and every scholar that we know, and mainly most of the scholars that have actually existed have been American, and they know for a fact that most the manuscripts we have are written in Greek. So the Greeks have had a lot to play a part in towards a religion that, because I'm sure America, when they written about with the founding fathers about God watching over the land, or it being God's, is it like God? What was I can't remember. It's like a motto you have, isn't it, or like a declaration or something?
I'm not familiar, to be honest with you.
With God, like watching the land or something.
Oh, right. Well, that's very common belief with the Greece and the Greeks. Like, they definitely
like
have...
the God, the land. I can't remember. It's an American thing that the founding fathers written up in that.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's talking about America and it being one nation under God.
The Constitution of
that's it, the Constitution. So, and I'm sure when they were mentioning God, they were mentioning as in, the God of Christianity.
Exactly.
So I don't, especially like I said, that Christianity, around Jesus, even some scholars reckon that Jesus and his apostles more than likely spoke Greek, because in the towns, because not a lot of people used to be able to write, or a lot of people were illiterate, but they reckon that people were bilingual, at least bilingual or trilingual. So they spoke a bit of Hebrew, a bit of like, I don't even say, is it Roman, Italian, Greek.
Jesus spoke Aramaic at the time too.
Yeah, because and Aramaic, because you had to get by with people, because it was such the area at the time of Israel. It had a mixture of people going in and out, and going through it. So you had to be bilingual or trilingual to get along with one another and to buy things. So, and scholars know that. So it shocks me to think, especially obviously the first manuscripts we had were Greek, that America would actually have a problem with the Greeks. You'd think they'd venerate them, if anything.
Well, let's not take it too far. I don't want veneration, but at least don't be hateful. Don't put out propaganda that could be lead to genocide, is what I'm concerned about. And what has been happening to Greece in the 21st century, which is an absolute encroachment and a hostile takeover. That was my concern. Not worship or idolization, or even have to say nothing nice. Just at least the liberal pinnacle, which is tolerance. At least live and let live.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'm glad you brought all those things up. yeah, again, what I'm really concerned about is what's been going on lately. The Henry Kissinger quote, and we'll get to that, but that it's very explicit. In fact, the siege is not just I'm not just judging my fruits and coming up with my own personal opinion. It's been professed publicly, um,
Right.
particularly during the um, going-ons of the Greek island of Cyprus, which is still occupied. Why is it being called a separate nation and not an occupied island by Islam? We'll get to that.
See, I didn't know any of this, so this is good for
Right.
enlightenment for me, because
Right.
my church is Greek, and my godfather and all of the people I know, especially with Pasha coming up, are Greek. So this would be topics that I could be able to relate to with them and speak to about, if they were ever to bring it up. So this is really, I'm really glad that you're bringing this up, to be fair.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Greeks, just like most everyone, are scared to talk about these things because they're scared of the pushback, right? So, usually people tune out. Nobody wants to, hear another group talking about how they're victims, right? Then there's that phenomenon. But, I mean, there's a major fundamental problem here. Again, Greece is in the middle. It's the peg of sorts between East and West. Not as much in the 21st century because of the internet, but still, geographically speaking, that's still a reality, as well as Italy, by the way. But yeah, it's also, again, as you pointed out, they've been the vanguards of Christianity, of this truth. So to undermine that, to destroy that, is quite significant. Just think about the Great Library of Alexandria and the impact that people talk about that, the destruction of that institution. All right, so I will say that as far as the positive portrayals, again, I'm not a big fan of the lockdown implications that caused more travesty and so on than anything else that surrounded that. Maybe even more than the lethal serums. That's debatable.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've heard have you
sorry.
seen the clots they're finding in people now that are 30 inches long?
Yes, we'll do a stream about that too. Yeah, let's not get too sidetracked. We'll do a stream about that too. So he was praised for these things, which I'm not a fan of. Looking to Burla too, and how Burla went over to the EU, and they had the EU make all these agreements about how these European nations have to do this and that and this and that for the lethal serums and the lockdown. And the following day, the elderly were being forced to take them. And then so on, and then every step after that, it was just horrendous. I mean, Burla, anyways, I'll just leave that. Just do your own research. But Hercules was another positive portrayal. Let's call it that again. Pagan character. Oh, wow, what a surprise there. But again, even there, I mean, half the times at least, he's portrayed as a bit queer, including from the 1960s from Marvel, which gave him an orange, green outfit, very gayish. I mean, I only know gay people that dress in those colors, and it's definitely not a Greek color. And it's definitely not traditional. So there is clearly some intent there. But even Kevin Sorbo is very popular, and especially now in the Christian circles, for all these Christian movies that he's doing. So I guess you could say that's a plus by extension, right? All right. So, yeah, I mean, there's some double standards here. We talked about the Draconian Nefarious use, even Machiavellian. Again, mass media's portrayal that Italians, the Illuminati, the Rome, and the Catholics are to blame. They're evil, and every evil in the world is their fault. That kind of thing. I mean, we've got to stop that kind of fascist propaganda, right? I mean, it's very common. When media talks about Italians, they're either mafia or they're Illuminati, right? I mean, let's cut that out. So, yeah, again, another common rhetoric that you might have caught speaking of America is that it's portrayed as the founders of democracy. So again, that's a plants and rewrites history. It's a plants Greece, and it's a significant role there. And when you also hear in combination of that, coupled to that, how Greek democracy was somehow bad. It's a bad thing. It's dangerous. I mean, there's a number of roles that plays, including this virtual ethnic cleansing. Again, all this slander in media for Greeks that you might not be sensitive to because you're not Greek, but it's evident. You can see for yourself as I illustrated in that small clip, and the samples go on and on and on. But there's the Y2K scare was a major game changer. There's a lot of people all of a sudden that became what they call doom preppers because of that. But also look at the subconscious how can I put it? The subconscious break conditioning that, our absolute existence relies on whether or not a computer works. That's what happened when you get Y2K. All of a sudden, our lives were dependent on whether or not a computer works, whether we liked it or not, which is not a reality. Even when we talk about the movie like War Games and how, what if nuclear weapons were in the power or in the control of AI? I mean, so what? You just pull the plug. I mean, come on. Not money, not machinery, nothing compares to the God created mankind that created these other things. So what are we afraid of? What is all this fear mongering? And then speaking of fear mongering, soon right after that, 9/11, which is when, right after that, 9/11, we had all the xenophobia, right? But that's when My Big Fat Greek Writing was released during all the xenophobia. I find that interesting. And then 2 years of just visceral, news, quote unquote, a slander against the Greeks, which led to their initial crippling. They spent all this money in preparation for all this. They even built an entire city out of marble in Athens and all these things to prepare for the Olympics, which is supposed to be a bird earner, but instead nobody showed up because of all this slander, all this fear mongering. And then, the economy, local economies, and the national economy became crippled after that. And that was the beginning of the end for them, including the bankings during the early 2000s. There was some financial flooding, debt there too. And in America, we're familiar with that, starting from the 80s, how the flooding of debt and the raising of taxes leads to economic recession, which is what Greeks suffered in the late 2000s on to the 2010s, when they finally got annexed by the European Union. And then the European Union made it even worse with their austerity packages and their dictates that further crippled the economy, including not even being allowed to take out a certain amount of money out of your bank. I mean, how is that helping the economy?
That's why we left.
Right, exactly. I mean, and the Greeks should have done the same thing. I mean, the European Union, we'll leave it at that. We know what it is. We talked about its geographical significance, but also its spiritual significance. To this day, Greeks greet each other with glory be to God. To this day, despite everything they've been through, and they're going through currently. All right, so let's get to this Henry Kissinger quote. This is a quote that he put out publicly while the national discussion was being held about the Turkish invasion of the Greek island of Cyprus, the occupation, and what the national community is going to do about it. Henry Kissinger had to say, the Greek people are anarchic and difficult to tame. That's very Henry Kissinger-like control. For this reason, we must strike deep into their cultural roots. Okay. Perhaps then we can force them to conform. Of course, to strike at their language, which I have plenty of stories about myself. I actually went to Greece to do a learning model for ancient languages of the Christian faith, which of course included Greek, and all the political things that I had to deal with there, including the head of this education in Greece, who was also my advisor for the postgraduate program, who agreed to my research. But then in one of her classes was going on and on about the Greek prime minister and how he had said he wants to preserve the Greek language, and she wants to rip out his eyes out for that. She repeatedly said that passionately. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Wow.
Here? Yeah. So, and their religion, Voila, there it is. I mean, yeah, how many times we got to hear that Greeks are pagan? Give it a rest. Right. And their cultural and historical reserves, which is interrelated. If you visit Greece, you can see Christianity and Greece and their culture. It's intertwined. So it's one and the same. It was so that we can neutralize their ability to develop, well, lo and behold, the 21st century, to, and again, this is something that was said in the 70s, to distinguish themselves to, or what do you know? Yeah, destroy Greek culture. So, we're all one people, we're all equal, or to prevail, which again, you keep hearing about Greece. And it's just like with Acorn, the people that were trying to say yes to what was being handed to them are now to be blamed. It's the Greeks' fault that they're, in an economic crisis. Thereby removing them as an obstacle to our strategically vital plans in the Balkans, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East. Well, one of the biggest military bases in the Mediterranean is in Crete, the second biggest Greek island. Again, the first biggest Greek island is Cyprus, still occupied. Nobody calls it that. All right. So that's all I'm going to say about politics. Let's get to the movies and let's zip through them. Tom Hanks, he's an interesting character. Okay. Again, his production company, Playtone. I mean, let's look at this logo for a second. Doesn't that kind of look like, if you remove the word Playtone from that logo, doesn't that look like an eye? And that's quite significant. We see the eye. We talked about the eye of Fatima and that significance. There's also a Greek eye, which I suspect comes from going as far back as the Eye of Horus, but maybe not. Maybe because of the 4 centuries of Islamic occupation, it came from that. I'm not really sure. But some people believe in this power of the eye and how it scares off evil. I'm not a big fan of that. And of course, Masonic organizations employ the eye. And we see it throughout Hollywood too. He was accused of pedophilia and all this adrenal drinking. I'm glad. Sorry? Okay, no. I'm glad this person that used this picture from the movie The Big on the bottom here, that weird image, it almost looks like it's an icon of Christ, which I hate. But it's really kind of a soothsayer, this machine, this movie Big, where he goes and you put your money in and it's supposed to tell you the future or something like that. In this movie, that movie was about how a young boy wishes that they could be an adult. Sorry?
Sorry, I was just thinking, I know what film that is. Oh, yeah. He turns into a man, doesn't he?
Yeah, right. And it's really weird because there's definitely a pedo thing in there where an adult woman is having a sexual relation with him as his character, but it's really a boy in a man's body, which is really creepy. Even back when I was young watching this, it really creeped me out.
It is weird.
Yeah.
When you think of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like Hollywood anymore at all. It pains me to have to do this. And by the way, folks, I suffered through watching all 4 movies at least once this week, just so I can prepare for this presentation. I suffer for you. So according to Huffington Post, I think it was, Tom Hanks was barred from the Vatican for his movie Angels and Demons, which I also watched this week as part of the research. It was the first time I watched it. What a weird, crazy movie. What is going on with it? But then again, they made the movie and they had all these scenes in there, so I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, you can see his relationships there.
A pretty good film.
Oh, you watched it? Okay, yeah. Production value it was really good, but the storyline, I mean, I don't know. It was just really creepy. A lot of the messaging in there too, I'm not a big fan of. And again, also it played on the whole Illuminati thing. Illuminati's behind everything and all that, and their power and yada yada. I'm not saying that they don't exist, they don't have power, but I think just it's maybe a bit overstated. I could be wrong. Also, there's an online claim that he's somehow 6 degrees related to the Pope. It's always at 6 degrees. Why do we have to have 6 degrees of separation? But anyway, enough about him. I don't do too much research on him. Maybe that's a stream in itself. I'll look into that. So my big fat Greek wedding, 2002, as we said, right after the 9/11 tragedy, the terrorist attack. Am I still allowed to say that? And yeah. And so xenophobia was at a high, and Platone's released this. I need to point out that I met the priest who baptized Tom Hanks. He was formerly Catholic, and he became Orthodox. He showed the picture of Tom Hanks's baptism, and it was exactly what we see in the scene in this movie of him in a kiddie pool. This is not how Orthodox churches baptize adults, and they do baptize adults. And it's really weird. I got to say also too.
I never seen that, brother.
Yeah, well, it's in a big fat Greek wedding. So yeah, I mean, canonically, you're not supposed to baptize people who have already been baptized. You're supposed to be chrismated into the orthodoxy. So there's something strange going on there. But anyway, maybe blessed.
No, even if it's
also, let me finish this thought. I'm sorry.
Or elder people, let's say if you want to baptize him, let's say from different sect, he doesn't believe, like let's say they don't have the same exact belief. They do baptize them by, let's say they pour some water over their head because they are old enough that they can't carry them, or they let's take it to the extremes. They baptize them in a river, or let's say in a sea somewhere big enough for them, but not in a swimming pool like that for kids. I never seen that. I seen a priest baptizing women, like let's say to get married from an Orthodox man by pouring some water over their head,
Right.
3 times on the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and that's it. They don't need to dip them all the way.
Yeah. So again, this is thank you for pointing out. This is very strange all around. Again, Tom Hanks was baptized this way for some reason. I think maybe the priest practiced koinonia. I don't know. That's just pure speculation. But yeah, it's just really weird. I'm pointing this out because I want to show how much Tom Hanks was actually invested. It wasn't just his production company. From what I hear, he was highly involved in the making of this movie. So yeah, it was very personal. The production value of this movie was great. I mean, even though I was extremely offended by it, I enjoyed it. I've watched it more than one time. I had a good laugh at it. But in retrospect, it is what it is, a propaganda piece. I mean, and again, as the one movie puts it, the real popular movie. Funny how, am I here to amuse you? So anyway,
as a Greek, let me tell you something. As long as you're speaking about the movie, what do you think if somebody told you about Muskaka?
Right, exactly. That's one of the scenes, and I'm glad they shared that scene. Right, I'm glad they shared that scene because
it's a French way, brother. It's a French way of a mousse. The mousse like thing, and caca is crap.
Yeah,
they are making the point about the Greek.
Right. So, but I'm glad that they showed that scene. It does illustrate how Greeks are picked on. Grease ball and that kind of thing. But at the same time, it also, it makes a good laugh. Everyone after the scene, which is the natural takeaway, muskaka, right? So they're doing the same thing the little girl is doing in the movie. Thank you for pointing that out.
About food, she said moussaka or something, but they answer her back muskaka. Muskaka is like shit in a moussey way. What the hell is that?
Yeah. So I mean, that's just one example of many. Again, the movie starts out with the opening credits with her going to work 5 o'clock in the morning in the rain and the cold. Ho hum, the poor oppressed woman. I mean, what about the men who do that? Okay, but let's there's men, screw them. So yeah, but also there's a narration about how it's miserable to be a Greek woman, being traditional. Again, another attack we hear regularly is an attack on traditionalism through our media, including one of my personal favorites, which has the musical song Tradition, right? Yeah. So that was about Jews and the 3 different kinds of Jews. One that was going to be married Fiddler on the Roof was the movie. One was going to be married to traditionally through arrangement. The other one was a little bit back and forth in the middle ground. The other one was just going to, do the modern thing and just elope and that kind of thing. And the whole movie was about, whether tradition is good or bad. But that's just one of countless examples. I mean, the siege on tradition is habitual, relentless.
I wanna cut
Sorry.
you off once you finish. For some reason, I wanna cut you off for this baptism thing. Did you pay attention? For it's not about the swimming pool. It's about this Nikki who will be his
Right.
godmother, who's putting some oil on him. Who she's not
Yeah.
allowed to, as Orthodox, to put any anointing oil on him,
Right.
and she's just making sexual gestures on him just to touch him. As godmother, she will be like his real mother,
Right.
to care about him and teach him Christianity. She's doing sexual gestures. Sorry for cutting you off, but it's
No.
annoyed me at the time when I saw it.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad
Go
that you
ahead.
pointed it out. Very good. And it's exactly like our brother Chris Apologist pointed out. Godparents are exactly the opposite. And then even my own godparent, they go out of their way to make sure that you're doing well, especially spiritually. That is their literal role, is to make sure your spiritual well-being is intact. So, but yeah, I mean, I suspect, again, this is pure speculation, but I suspect that Tom Hanks has some kind of thing where he went to a Greek Orthodox parish. I think it's called the Latino Quarter or something to that effect in California. And, Greeks were like, well, look, Tom Hanks, cool. I mean, I don't know if they have other stars or not in this California parish, but it was from what the parish priest was saying. It was a church that was shut down or something to that effect. So they had to go back in and rebuild it. And so it was a small parish, undoubtedly, that was being built up, and now Tom Hanks comes in. So he was probably like, whoa. I mean, I can imagine the women, getting excited to see Tom Hanks. So maybe he's projecting that onto this scene. I don't know. That's just pure speculation. I don't know why they would do that. But regardless, like you pointed out.
Didn't Tom Hanks did another movie? It's totally Antichrist.
Right.
What was the name of that movie? Do you remember? It was totally Antichrist, and he made Mary the what's her name? She was the one who's leaning on the Jesus Christ in the Last Supper, and she was his
Oh.
his what the girlfriend. He's taught. I don't believe he's a Christian, neither Orthodox, because
Well,
all that is propaganda.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he made that Mary is his girlfriend, and leaning on not Mary his mother, Mary the what's her name, Magdalene, and she's leaning on his chest, not John, the beloved John, and
National Treasure. You talking about National
yeah.
Treasure?
No. It was something. It was coming from a book. It was coming from a book. I don't remember the book. What's his name? What's his name? The thing. The movie. He made a movie somehow, and that movie was about Christianity, and he was searching, hunting for treasures and stuff like that, and finding about how bad is Christianity and the Pope and the whole thing around the Pope. And
Could
what
you
was
find
it?
that movie for us? Like maybe if you look under International Movie Database, Tom Hanks.
We'll look for it in a minute.
Yeah, there's a list of movies that he's done. Maybe you can recognize. I'm really curious. I mean, that I might have not seen that movie, but it sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Does anyone in the chat know what he's talking about? Could you guys name that movie?
Let me get the movie in a minute. Give me a minute and I'll get it.
No worries.
It was a book, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really. I thought it was National Treasure, but it must be something else.
No, Da Vinci Code. I found it.
Oh, the Da Vinci Code. Oh, yeah, I did see that one. That's right. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so horrible that it made so much bad thing about the Pope, the whole thing about him, about about Jesus, Mary the Magdalene, and where they've been buried and how they followed up and everything. So bad about Christianity that I don't believe that he's Christian, neither Orthodox. He must be some terrible thing. It's a terrible lie. I don't believe all that. And this swimming pool thing,
Yeah.
it's all propaganda against Christianity, brother.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And yeah, it's exactly right. This portrayal of this baptism is just wrong all around. Even the priest that they chose, the casting there, the actor that chose to play the priest. I mean, does anything about this priest compel you to want to come to Christ? I mean, or does it look like a goofball? I don't think that's accidental either. Even the casting there is suspect. So yeah, let's go on to the portrayal. Speaking of goofballs, of the teacher again, he's learning Greek language, and that's supposed to be a horrible experience. I'm getting some feedback. Oh, Anti-Christian, do you mind muting your mic a little bit? Is that you?
Yeah,
Christian apology. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's Christian apology. I think.
All right.
Whose noise is that? Can anyone control it, please?
Yeah, can you press mute?
So, if there is something Antichrist is Tom Hanks. I don't like him. I used to like his movies.
Yeah.
Let's say you've got mail, you've got this, you got that. They used to have some nice movies, but then he came back with some very bad choices like this, and it was really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't bear him after.
I agree with you. I think as far as anti-Christian goes, I think all of Hollywood is anti-Christian. There's just very few nuggets good in there. But I mean, there's redeeming value in everything through Christ. So there's always that. So yeah, I mean, basically the Greek teacher here, the experience of learning Greek is supposed to be a really bad thing. Again, as Kissinger said, attack the language. But also, again, we have this male character is supposed to be goofy looking and all that, which is also completely emasculating. Again, this is back in 2002, but of course this goes back way back. And as the more of the streams we do, the more you'll see how far back these kinds of things go. We're trying to work our way backwards here. It also creates this prejudice of Greeks being eccentric, stupid with the whole Windex thing. No Greek has ever heard of this Windex thing, but somehow in the minds of countless people worldwide, now this is somehow a thing. Yeah, and the other thing that's predominant in the theme of this movie is how Greeks are ethnocentric. Maybe that's true for some of the time, maybe. But, what really happens and what's happening in the stream right now as we speak is that Greeks kind of like are attacked throughout their history, even when they're abroad, if not especially when they're abroad. And so they become a bit defensive. Like when you go to Greek parish, they might kind of look at you like, oh boy, is this another one coming to tell us to stop being Greek or what? Right? So they get a lot of that. And then they get blamed for that behavior by their attackers.
It's not because of a Greek, brother. It's because the Greek, let's say Greece and let's say Russia, they are the core.
Let me cut you off. Forgive me. I'm trying to avoid the church politics. No, but I'm sorry. I should have cut you off. You're right. That plays into the whole BRICS thing.
It's not politics. It is politics at the same time, but it's reality.
Yeah,
it's
you're
reality.
Right.
They've been attacked. You'll see the whole thing. They are the core of orthodoxy. Let's say let's say the dream of Islam to target Italy and the Vatican. This is their dream from the Quran. From the Quran to attack the thing, the Roman. Yes. So their dream to attack. They still think that Italy it is the one. They have to go to attack Rome. It's the reality. The noise, brother. Who's that?
I got him. I muted him.
Yeah. Sorry. So it is their dream. You think it's fantasy. It's not fantasy. Let's say everybody speaking about some war here and there. They will keep concentrating about let's say Russia. For no matter if the Orthodox being attacked in what's his name? Zelensky is kicking the Orthodox from their churches, no matter about that. If he's doing whatever it is with their churches, or banning or putting some bad things on their legs like that, jailing them in their places, nobody will speak about it. But they will speak about some other things. Let's say, because Russia this, Russia that. I'm not with war. I'm not with anything like that. I'm telling you what the fact it is, that they want to attack two core of Christianity.
Right. Exactly.
Two seats of the Christianity.
Yes,
you know that
yes.
it is seat. The Christianity based on seats. It is a seat. It is seat. Let's say the Rome. Let's say Constantinia, the Russian, the Greeks. The seats. Those main places. Those main places are the origin of the Christianity, and they are targeting the main.
Right. No, I'm glad you. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm glad you brought that up, and that is part of the discussions that we're doing here. BRICS, and of course, a big player in that is the Islam, their finances, and of course, physically occupying, encroaching on lands throughout Europe and America, establishing Sharia law, and taking over. I mean, that's what they've done historically. That's what the Spanish Inquisition was about. I know everyone says, "Oh, the Spanish Inquisition was evil." Sure, they've done some evil things in there, but we are now seeing how that was a reaction to an even bigger evil. And of course, the Crusades, which is very commonly brought up. So, yeah, I mean, again, so on the back of that, let me go back to the portrayal of Greeks being ethno. I'm not being proud to be Greek in this stream right now. I'm being an apologist for Greek people, both as a Greek, as a concern for my family, my friends, acquaintances, Greeks in general, but also, most importantly, the foundation of Christianity, of civility in the world. So when you undermine Greeks, when you undermine the foundation, the guarded truth, then what is left? There's a major big problem there. Okay, so enough ho-hum about things. Let's try to change the mood here a little bit. All right, so let's talk about your favorite things. You guys share with me, what did you like about the movie? I mean, I don't know if it's inappropriate to talk about that now. Maybe I should have started with this, but in retrospect, maybe that should have been the first slide. But anyway, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Here we are.
See the viewers what they will write about it. Janice, Joy, Dragon, all of you, Protestant believer, everyone, Albanian Prince, anyone who's in the chat, please write what did you like about the movie.
If I haven't terrified you, you're scared to speak now because I might attack. I'm not going to attack you I like the movie too. I mean, it's it's a guilty pleasure, right? But it's let's call it what it is. It's also a propaganda piece. So speaking the truth about it must be done. But yeah, let me just say why you guys are thinking about what your personal part or your personal thing, what you liked most about the movie, or any of its sequels. If you watch the sequels, let us know about that too. Mine was, in case it was funny. As I said, a lot of Greeks loved it, despite its bigotry, its offenses. It was a play on the ugly duckling, right? The whole Cinderella story, the frumpy, ugly, homey girl, becomes this beautiful, attractive young lady, and this guy notices her in passing. And so they meet not very awkward, very romantic way. He stumbles, he hurts himself, and now she's nursing him. So it's very romantic, very cutesy how they meet. And then later, when they're getting to know each other and they go on a date, it's very warm, very lovely music that they're playing. The production value in this movie is outstanding, by the way. And so that was probably my two favorite parts or sequences in the movie, was how they met and the chemistry that they had on their date. The interaction that the actors had. and how it was illustrated. Yeah.
Is it when she was he asked her to pour for him coffee, his friend, and she poured for him coffee? Let's say when how they met,
I
or when he saw her in the outside the travel agent, and he start ducking down and trying to walk funny in front of her, and he hit the old woman and start hitting him by her handbag, beating
yeah.
him on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, like again, this movie was awesome. I mean, yeah, I can't deny it. It was awesome. You know, it really was, and that's why it was so popular. I mean, the production all around, it was just really good movie, really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go back to Janice's comment about Captain Corelli's mandolin. Another romantic movie, comedic,
It was
but
beautiful.
then a great example of how Hollywood is going out of its way to bash both Orthodoxy and Catholicism. They did it all in one shot, particularly in the sequence where, you know, the Italians are trying to take over the government building in an island, and the Greeks in there won't open the door, and the Italians like, open the door, and like, no, they won't open the door. Okay, we'll come back tomorrow, and that's the end of it. Like, oh, that's the extent of the war that they had, which you know, is again portraying both as really incompetent and bad and stupid and all that. Let's laugh at them, but also quite significant again with the Greeks, how nobody talks about their role in World War II, how they defeated the Italians. Una Faz, una razza was the expression that came out of that, and how well that delayed. You know, the Germans did get involved. They slowed them down, and eventually then went on to Russia and faced that horrible Russian winter, which was the end of that front.
They mentioned how the German killed the Italian, though, how they took the Italian aside and they just simply gunned them down. If you remember in the movie, they didn't mention that how the Greek they were defending. They show somehow some of the Greek defending. Let's say her boyfriend. You know, or her ex-fiance before she met him. He was with the group who were defending Greece, but then the German, the Nazi, they gunned down the Italian because they were against their president at that time. They were traitors for their own allies, you know. So they gunned them down. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, not really, to be honest with you. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. You know, I've met Nick Cage was this one of the stars in that movie. So, and I met his agent, of all people, who came to buy a restaurant, a family restaurant, and yeah, I don't know. His agent was crazier than Nicolas Cage, I think. I don't know. Just as a side note there. Anyway, so we didn't get too many good things. I guess people are scared to say anything good about My Big Fat Greek Wedding at this point. My apologies. Should have started with what do you like about the movie? I will. But
okay, what did you like? What do you have something, let's say, funny apart from Windex you don't like?
Yes, you mean?
I'll tell you. Let's say he said at the end when they were I told you about the fruit earlier on, you mentioned the fruit. He said at the wedding, the father said, yes, we are our family is mean orange and Miller mean apple, coming from the word rooted to Greek, and it's mean apple, and here you go, there you go. And at the end of the day, we are fruit, and from let's say we are different, but we are all fruit. So
yeah, my favorite is the kimono scene. You know, the winter and you wear, yeah. But
I have another favorite. Like,
but let me address that. Let me respond to that. So yeah,
go ahead.
There you go. That's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Every time someone brings up My Big Fat Greek Wedding, they talk about that, and that is an attack not only on the Greeks doing that, but again, they're doing exactly what I mentioned earlier. They're projecting. They're blaming Greeks, current Greeks, for not only ancient Greek, let's say, these Greek words come from ancient Greek, let's say, but also the Renaissance. I mean, the Greeks really have nothing to do with the Renaissance. It was Western nations that made the Renaissance a thing as compared to Greece, Western nations. Greeks consider themselves as being in the middle. That's why they have the Byzantine flag, looking to the left and to the right, because they've been attacked from every direction, and this continues to stay. But anyway, so yeah, projecting this. Well, you know what? Well, these Greeks are ethnocentric and everything. No, they don't have that kind of control. They didn't say, well, you know what? You got to use all these English words with Greek roots, and no, that's not what happened at all. It was the Renaissance that did that. So yeah, there we go. As the character says in the movie, there you go.
And there you go. Yeah, I tell you something I like as well about that. When she wanted to go to the college, and he didn't like, because women shouldn't be educated. She will be, or whatever it
Right.
is. They put down women. Although I know a lot of Greek ladies, they are well educated. Some they are lawyers, some they are doctors, some I know all that. But however, in the movie the character was like that, and the mother went inside. Before going inside to tell him what she wanted to say, she told Tula mean the light of God, by the way, and they made laughter about it. She went there. She told Tula that although the father is the head of the house, the mother is the neck, and she can twist him as she likes. So I like that the mother is the neck of the neck, and she can twist him as she wish. And she went inside and she really twisted him. She talked with him hard in a harsh way, like, without me you are nothing really. I am the one. What are you speaking about? Women can't be educated. Without me, you are nothing. I am doing the restaurant, the kids, everything. I even teach in Bible, whatever, in Sunday school. So then he sat down aside. That's it.
Yeah, so these are, glad you brought that up. These are common themes throughout all the sequels. This whole man-hating thing. The straw man lie. These tropes that are built up just to, well, what we're seeing now. Again, people. This is not right now. We're living in a implementation phase. Women are being prompted to attack men. Again, this is not normalization that we're seeing through media right now, but woke activation is what's taking place. So be prepared, people. I'm saying that so you can be prepared for what we're in. Let's be real about it, so we can, when we are confronted with it, we know how to respond and not just caught blindsided by it. Excuse me. So yeah, these are, and also the the whole language thing that we just said, the projecting this Renaissance thing on the Greeks, that too is a theme throughout the movie. You'll see the grandchildren and children now doing the same thing that the Papa was doing with the language. Let's, as Kissinger said, let's attack the language. Let's attack the language. That's important.
Yes.
That's where we
as long as
dealing with. Oh, let me finish that thought. Let me finish that thought, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is the thing that we're combating these days in mass media. The biggest thing is a redefinition of words, of language. Language is fundamental in everything we do. Without it, we're lost. We have to communicate. So that is why they're attacking language. Again, beware of that. It's important. Sorry, go ahead.
I was mentioning that Janice mentioned that that's laughing at British and something, and there were something about British in this movie, that when they brought those the parents to meet them at that party, meeting and stuff like that. They brought the whole family, and those Muller family, they brought for them a cake and called them it's bunt cake, and the thing it said it has a hole in it, and it took them like 10 minutes to know what bunt is, and then it said it's a cake. And at the end of the day, they wrote inside the bun. She put the flowers inside. There is a
So
hole in the cake.
yeah, I remember that. And that was kind of odd. Like, so they were British, those parents?
Muller, yeah, yes, absolutely. But because the Muller is originally the family, it could be German.
Ah,
But you know that the British, they've been occupied by German, by
by everyone.
even the language being complicated, let's say combined by German, by what they call it, Viking.
Yeah,
So the whole thing been
Rome. Yeah,
mixed.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even Anglo-Saxon, that was not always a thing. You know, that too was an
Yes.
invasion. Yeah. So let me also, you know, the back of what you said earlier, point out, you know, this whole construct of, you know, tradition is bad, men are bad, women oppressed, you know, let's hate on the natural role of women, that kind of thing, which is predominant throughout all these movies. Yeah, let me point out how false that is. Again, we started this stream with an attack on what the guy thought was the Virgin Mary. On the flip side of that, the traditional Christianity for millennia, not even centuries, but millennia, venerated, put women, a woman, but women in general, in high regard, right? There's a ton of female saints that the Orthodox venerate, remember, and pay homage to. So, as an example of Christian life, okay? And so to attack that is really, really horrible. And that's what Hollywood does. It's anti-Christian, in essence, habitually, relentlessly. I'm Greek now is something that I failed to mention earlier. One of the things that really bothered me back then with the original My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2002 was the baptism scene and how that character jumps up after the baptism and says, "I'm Greek now." Wow. I mean, talk about a slap in the face in both directions, whether you're Greek or you're Orthodox. That was horrible. And no doubt Tom Hanks played a role. Again, that's speculation. I can't prove it. But yeah, that was just really, really poor taste altogether. But again, that's the whole part of pitting everyone against each other in every way possible. The whole Willie Lynch letter thing. Sorry, Amir?
You could say at the time you are a Greek or Christian at the time of the Bible, at the time of, but no, after that you cannot, because they
Yeah.
became a Christian.
A citizen of Rome. Are you talking about like the Middle East? Yeah, a citizen of Rome. You know, Hellene. Sure. I mean, whatever. But that's one thing, and that's another too. In a modern baptism, after Orthodox baptism, go, "I'm Greek now." That's just really, really bad. And Tom Hanks publicly runs around for years now saying, "Oh, it's great to be Greek. I'm Greek. I'm Greek." Like he's somehow become Greek.
Huh? How
Yeah,
come?
he
But
does
did he
that.
take the citizenship?
Right. So he's married to a Greek woman, a Greek actress, accomplished in her own right. But
Yeah, they will sell him the citizenship anyhow. He's famous.
right, and I got a picture of that. Right, he's got his Greek passport, and
Yes.
so therefore, yeah, it's
You
just bad.
mentioned Rome. You mentioned Rome that they can be about Rome, but you have as well the room. The room it's coming from the Rome, like the Rome Orthodox. Rome Orthodox are the as well the from the Antioch chair, which is the Orthodoxy section. Yeah. So as well they are being attacked all this time. You know, they are one. They are one, but with the Greeks, they are one nation basically in faith. You know, the room they have the same flag, the yellow with
The
flag.
Byzantine flag. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll buy that for $1. All right, I'll buy it. Let's zip through the sequels because we're not going to do another stream on sequels. No one's going to watch it. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, this is really not a sequel, nor is it really a spin-off. Technically, this character in My Life in Ruins, 7 years later, by the way, 2009, she doesn't have the same name, and the family is not present, and she's also single. But if you watch it, I mean, she's got the same job, and it's pretty obvious it was meant to be originally some kind of spin-off or sequel. But yeah, who knows what happened there. But this was about an independent woman, right? Going to Greece. She's a travel agent, a tour guide. I'm sorry, a tour guide. And so in Greece, she's like taking these people around, and it's pretty bad. I mean, it's extremely insulting. The main character, like, she insults her Greek genetics. Again, I mean, we see that throughout the first movie. The Greek woman in the mustaches and that kind of thing. The casting. Getting these homey looking Greek women to play these roles. I mean, anyone's been in Greece knows that Greek women are friggin' hot. Forgive me for saying that, but let me be frank. So, but instead of casting the typical, again, this is early 2000s. I know the fad now is to cast these like dyke-looking women, but this is the early 2000s. We're still, doing the whole Barbie model-looking main, characters, actresses to play these roles. But yet, for these movies, they went with the less model-looking women. And I don't mean to insult these women, but I'm just saying this casting was done intentionally to portray Greeks in a certain way. Yeah, and Richard Dreyfuss, habitually he mocks Greece. He's supposed to be a powerhouse. His father was a lawyer. His mother was an activist. They're Jewish, of course. Surprise, surprise. He's done all these movies. I mean, he's playing the same character in every movie that he does. So I'm not sure what is exactly how he gets these roles, but he got them. So yeah, he basically takes over this movie, My Life in Ruins, and his character he plays this victim. He's an older guy, and he's running around doing nothing but slandering Greeks. Because he's a funny guy. And if it's comedy, it's okay to be fascist. So, but now he gets pushed back by the tour guide eventually, and now he's a victim. Lo and behold, we get that all the time, right? People are running around being fascist or bigoted.
Sorry about that. My phone ran out of battery then.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So people that tend to be bullies, when they get that reaction that they're pushing for, all of a sudden they play the victim. That's standard. So your battery died. Were you able to hear any of the stuff that we were going on? Did you want to add anything to anything that was said? A Christian apologist?
Oh, sorry. What was that?
Were you able to hear anything that was said? Did you want to add anything, or are you good?
I've been listening, and I totally agree. It's all new to me. This, it's quite shocking.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
It?
Yeah.
When you first realise it, and it's been in your face the whole time, and you just think, oh, how did I not, think about it? But I was just reading some of the comments as well. Someone said that I sound like Ricky Gervais.
I have a question for you though.
Yeah, go on.
Look like a new year for you because you went Christian Apologist 2023. You came up Christian Apologist 2024.
Yeah, I got to change my thing. I'm gonna have to change my name, I reckon.
Yeah.
I thought it's a new year for you today.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to change my YouTube name, the channel name, or. I was thinking about it anyway.
Yeah, if I may recommend something like the Christian Apologist, it could be easier to find in searches or something like that. I don't know. But,
yeah, that might be better actually. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll come up with some ideas.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You are the one.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, it's quite. When you look at all the Hollywood films all together, you can see it. It does have quite a direct link, doesn't it, with everything that's completely against what we would.
As long as we cut you off, what do you think about you eat no meat? What do you mean you eat no meat?
You eat no meat.
I'll cook for you lamb.
Whereabouts are you? Are you from, Amir?
I'm from the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
But
brilliant.
I'm in UK. I'm in UK.
That's why we joined first. The Greek American and Arab British perspective, which I think is great.
It's good. Oh, that's a quick question. You know, like Arab Christians, do they
Yes.
call God? Do they call God Allah as well, or is that
Yes, for a
true?
fact. Yes, for a fact, because in 1861, I believe the date, if I'm accurate, they did the translation of Van Dyke, and it was, of course, under the occupation of Muslims. And the three Muslim sheikhs, they've been survey the translation, so they force them to put, instead of any Elohim or Yahweh or anything like that, to put Allah instead. And that's why it is, I can count it fake translation, but only by this name. So whoever
Yeah.
read it, he can make it ilah, he can make it something
Yeah, I
else
thought that's
instead.
what I thought it was. Is Ilah or La? Just
Yeah,
the La,
he
not
can make it.
Allah, not
Yeah,
Allah.
he can make it Rab as well. Rab is God. He can make
Yeah,
it. He can say Yahweh. It's written
yeah.
in Arabic, but because it has been forced under the Islamic occupation, but because it was Butrus, what's his name, Van Dyke, and Butrus, what's his name, something, I forgot the name of the guy. He was very excellent man, but I forgot the surname. Bustani.
Mm.
His translation. You can look for it online. It's written about it, but there were like four sheikhs. One of them from the Druze, one from the Sunni, one from. They were all looking over it, and they've been
Mm.
forced to put the word Allah in it. So it is not our God's name. It is a name of
I was
Muslims'
gonna
God.
say.
We
That's what I was
don't
gonna say. Yeah,
have
it is.
we don't have God's name. We have titles.
That's what I was trying to argue with Hamza about ages and ages and ages ago, and he just wouldn't accept it. He just would. That's what I said. Said exactly the same thing you just did, and he
Eh,
just would not accept that. But yeah,
because because he will accept what suits him.
yeah.
Una, welcome, or what's he said? Who I made it? I don't know what's who I made it. Clarify your question, Una. Welcome anyway.
Yeah,
They
just
made
in
it. I
time.
said Muslims made they overlooked over the translation. If that you are speaking about the Bible translation, and they forced Christians to add the word Allah into it. But we have no word called Allah in the Arabic Bible until Muslim be forced adding this word. Yes. Uh, okay. I will put myself on mute for Brother Nicodemus to continue.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna try to
and me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the contributions. Yeah, I'm gonna try to zip through it because I know we want to keep these streams as short as possible. But yeah, I'm glad you made those comments. That's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, to both help people realize what I realized a decade or two ago, just how much of an influence these movies have, but also this particular stream, something you don't really hear in media anywhere, even by Greeks, is this Greek perspective, and what's really going on with Greeks, not this the spin that you hear by people who evidently are trying to undermine Greece and, by extension, the foundation of Christianity. Okay, so yeah, the Greek merchants in this movie, My Life in Ruins, going back to that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading Protestants. There's people that stop watching movies. Good for you. I've this past few years I've just done it literally for the sake of research. Once in a blue moon, when I try to put on an older movie or religious movie to get away, because we're creatures of habit. But every time I get disappointed. I find the same things in those as well, which is unfortunate. Yeah. So there's the scene on the bottom right. We see a Greek merchant portrayed as a typical tourist trap, as if that's a Greek thing and nothing else. Like I've heard other even Greek Americans complain about something like going to Greece and getting gypped by a cab driver, and therefore Greeks are bad and don't go to Greece. What? I mean, have they not been in a cab in the U.S. or any other country for that matter? I mean, I myself was a cab driver. I mean, I could tell you all kinds of stories. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff, that kind of prejudice is just really bad, even if it's done by your own people, if not especially. Free on-screen tour of Greek sites. So the big problem with the undermining of the Greek economy is it's tourism. When you portray Greeks as negatively, people are not going to be interested in going. But another thing is if you keep showing all these sites on screen virtually, then it's going to be like Facebook. Oh, well, I'm with my family all the time, so I don't need to go visit them. I've already seen the sites, so I don't really need to go visit Greece. So there's that aspect of it too. And also, of course, as we said, all this mockery of tradition and Greeks, give me any word, and all these things, right? It leads to a lack of faith. It leads to disbelief, and that is a major problem, as we're seeing today. That's all I really want to say about my life in ruins, 2009. The bottom left, I will say this: these characters were trying to talk about how they're going to purchase this beautiful box. They can how different ways they can use it, but that holds a relic. I'm personally not the biggest fan of relics, but again, I say that half-heartedly because, as I illustrated earlier, these people have the faith of the woman in the Bible who, for her to touch Christ's garment was enough. So, yeah, who am I to say, and to speak against that? But this movie was completely belittling the idea of that type of thing. So let's move on to the next one. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, the official sequel. That too came 7 years later. It illustrated the issues of mixed marriages. Okay. So in sociology, Western sociology, American sociology, I've got a psychology degree. One of the best students, honored with this, graduate with distinction. So I got to say that the three major things that lead to divorce, which people don't, unfortunately, has become part of the culture, is the divorce, unfortunately. But in the late 20th century, this discussion had a value about, you got to be concerned about divorce, and that is you got to make sure that you have the same religion. Religion is the biggest factor why people get divorced. You got to have the same culture. Oh no, bigotry, closed-minded. Well, scientifically speaking, statistically speaking, that was a major contributor to divorce. And having the in-laws get along. I mean, the whole, horrible in-laws thing. That too is a problem. So those three things got to be aligned for a successful marriage. But
can I cut off on something?
Yeah, let me just finish that thought. So
Go ahead.
these movies, this movie, and all these movies, they push the antithesis of that. The whole mixed marriage thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't get married if you're not Chinese, you're married a Chinese person, all that. But just keep in mind that when you do, marriage in itself is hard enough as it is. You have all these struggles. But if you do marry someone that doesn't fall in line with these three things I just mentioned from sociology and tradition, by the way, then you are going to have even more problems than you already have. So be prepared. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Amir?
You missed a big message. Sorry, maybe you didn't miss it, but maybe you left it over on purpose. At the end of the last movie we were speaking at, it was when they were sending their daughter to the school. She said she doesn't want to go to the Greek school. Why should I have to go? Like her mother said, why should she have to go to school, to Greek school? And she said, no, you have to go there to learn the language, whatever it is. In the previous time, she said to write to your mother-in-law letters. But in here, she told her, like, you have to learn the language, but I promise you, you don't have to marry a Greek. You can marry anyone you like. So they were like inside out, like inside the message. Go marry anyone you want. Like they are giving the message, like go out. And I don't know if it's a big message, but I think it is important that you don't have to stay in the community, you know, like just go out, marry anyone. And now you are going for the let's say gays and stuff like that, homosexuality. So you will see that they are bringing people out of the community and out of that. What do you think?
I think you're reading my slide, is what I think. But thank you for bringing that up.
I didn't. I promise you, it's too small for my eyes to read.
Anyway, nothing but complaints. All right. But I'm glad you brought up the last movie. I did forget something. You know, the movie talks about how horrible Greek infrastructure is. You know, the scene of the bus that's like smoking and it's choking everyone, and that's horrible. I gotta say, you know, I don't want to use the word blessed, but America is blessed with its decadence. But certainly America, I mean, you go to America, you can find a job easier. You can buy all these things. There's much more things, much broader range of things to purchase. It's definitely a consumerist economic powerhouse compared to many nations. I don't know. Compared to UK, maybe not. But compared to many other nations, absolutely. You know, that's changing, by the way. That goes into this BRICS discussion. Like, you know, the Middle East, you got all these cities that are much more advanced, you know, of course, in China, and, you know, on and on. I mean, the largest tower is, I think it was in, actually, I think, yeah, there's a competition, Middle East, Taiwan, you know, it goes on. But anyway, so, yeah, I mean, but to portray the Greeks as, you know, completely competent yet again, that really not only is offensive and bigoted and whatever, all these things, but it's also, again, attacking their economy. Nobody wants to go to a place that has crappy accommodations, right? So no, that kills the tourist economy too, that kind of propaganda. But yeah, as you were saying, Amir, the mixed child, the mixed daughter, she's half Greek, half you said they're British? I didn't realize that. So the male character, the father, is British. All right, so half Greek, half British. Living in America.
I took her for British because she said bunt. Bunt's British. They keep saying bunt about cake.
You're right. Yeah, that always stood out to me too. I mean, I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, she hates the Greek side of the family, as you said. She doesn't want to do the Greek things. Doesn't want to go to Greek school. Yeah, so in the process, this non-Greek side throughout this movie, Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, 2016, they're shown as a superior race and all that. You know, okay. So again, that's playing not only to the Willie Lynch letter of divisiveness, but it's also portraying Greeks and Greek culture and what it has to offer, particularly the tourist economy, as something that you don't want anything to do with. And again, at 2016, this was quite critical time with the whole EU hostile takeover of Greece and the ongoing Islamic invasion, encroachment of the quote-unquote refugees. And again, as you mentioned, the gay pride thing is also being pushed here. It wasn't innovated among Greece. And you know, that's a Western thing, but for somehow it keeps getting projected onto the Greeks. Yeah, sorry.
I'm just going to have to shoot off now, guys. Okay, because I got some. I've stayed on quite a lot longer than I was originally intended.
Yeah, the stream is going a bit longer than I intended, but unfortunately, that's what I do.
No problem. Get in touch with me, Nicodemus, to see if we can have a discussion about that new occult that's rising here in the UK.
That'd be great. I don't know nothing about it, but I'd love that. All right.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah,
thank you for coming, brother. God bless you.
No
Thank you.
problem, and God bless you too. And enjoy the rest of the show. And hopefully, I'll speak to you all soon.
Hopefully.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So yeah, I mean, again, the exaggerations of the anti-Greek tropes. We talked about, its significance. Western civilization idolization, and infatuation with the pagan culture, and how the Renaissance is being projected onto the Greeks somehow, the modern Greeks, and they're being blamed for it somehow. The primary father figure in this movie is not, again, in the first movie we saw him being emasculated, as you pointed out, Amir. The man is the head, but the woman is the neck, kind of thing, and on and on. He's a goof, and he's being laughed at, and he's a stupid one, and a traditionalist one, and he's just a bad guy all around. And while you're laughing at him, but this is exaggerated even more in this movie, where his wife complains that they're not technically married somehow, and so therefore they got to get remarried, and now she doesn't want anything to do with him because he's got to bend knee and propose properly. We heard that before. The man's got to bend knee and put himself below the woman in this quote unquote proper marriage proposal, where you go to Zales, the franchise, to buy the diamond from Africa from the slave-driven slaves. The one major thing Africa has contributed to the world. So yeah, I mean, look, give me a break. What can I say? What else can I say about this? Like, this whole emasculation thing is insane, and it gets even worse as we get to part 3. So before we get into the third movie, what do you guys think? Put in chat. What do you think part 3 was about? And before I watched it this week, I'd already guessed what it was going to be about. It's not hard to do. Again, this movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding Part 3, came out 7 years after this one, Part 2, 2016. It came out in 2023. It came out last year. It came out during the Armenian genocide. Also, what was streaming at the time was Crapopolis, animated Simpsons-like thing. When you can imagine what that's about. We'll touch on that. So, what do you guys think it's about? Part 3. Any guesses? What are we getting ready to see?
Women, masculine, or some stuff like that, and gays, LGBT.
Yeah. Nothing but. Yeah, I mean, the quality really goes down. Even with part 2 in 2016, the production value was still good, but in this next one, I mean, it's just completely wretched. Yeah, and I had a magnifying glass prepared to use this time, so you guys can see what I'm each picture individually better. But for some reason, it's not coming up for me. Sorry about that. So we'll get this hopefully right. By the way, people, on that note, let me just go ahead and take this. I've been going back and forth for a while now about this, and I've been talking to Amir about it. Yeah, I mean, forgive me, Amir, I don't know if you take offense to my mention this or not, but I mentioned to Amir previously about my financial woes, and they're pretty severe. It seems like every winter I go through this really bad economic spell, regardless of what I do. But this stuff that we're doing, it requires some a few $100 for a better microphone, so you guys can hear me better. A soundboard mixer. The splitter, which I've already bought, and I've got to return the splitter. They sent me a wrong kind of thing again. So this is like the second or third splitter that I got. And this costs money I don't have right now. I'm thinking about doing a GoFundMe or something like that, a fundraiser. And I know everyone's taxed right now, and I hated doing this, but, and I should be spending my own money as a tithing kind of thing too. But things are really that bad. So I might just go ahead and do a crowdfunder. If I do that, I'll probably put it in the description or the next stream and all that, so I can get funding for this. Also, a monthly subscription. I've been taxing poor Amir. So he's giving me all kinds of access to his account so I can have access to do certain things. But speaking of production value, the production value of this live stream, I'm fully aware is not what it's supposed to be, and I'm capable of doing better, but I'm just financially strapped to do the things that I need to do to get there. So we'll see. I'm just putting that out there. But yeah. So let's do Big Fat Greek 23. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about this? It's a modern movie. The production value is horribly bad. Playtone Pictures, Tom Hanks' production company, is still part of this. So is HBO, home box office. But yeah, for some reason, all of a sudden, the quality went to crap. Caca, right? It's caca, right? So yeah, it's really not even French caca. It's just outright raunchy caca. It's bad. So the editing is horrible. It's glitchy. The storyline is disoriented. It's choppy. There is a storyline that's present. You can see it in the writing, but you got to imagine it because the presentation is horrendous. I'm not overstating this, and I don't understand it. When the same production companies are involved, at least Playtone, yet all of a sudden the quality just goes dramatically downhill. Yeah, and of course, yeah, all the political points. Not only are they part of it, but they're extremely over-exaggerated, and it seems to be nothing but sequences or scenes put together, piecemeal together, so they can push their politics, their backward, diabolical, hypocritical, genocidal politics. So, and anti-Christian ones, of course. Yeah, I mean, the movie starts with the family. So, and this is the storyline. The father passes away, so now he's dead. And so they have this his journal, and they want to take it to the family in Greece. And then they get an invite to this family reunion in Greece, and so they go to this Greek island, and they have these bad experiences because everything there is bad, including a bunch of what do you call it? The familial sexual encounters, kind of like you said in the very first one with the godmother, but they're taken to an extreme. Like there's this weird, awkward scene where the main character, the actress, is Dula. She's like, romantically attracted to her long lost brother. The adopted child is now having a relationship with, I don't know. It's just bad all around. And the other main character of this movie is the person we see here. There's a magnifying glass. Let me do it that way. All right, so yeah, she, as you can see, she's very not goth, but punk or whatever you call it these days. Normal, I guess. Open-minded or woke, whatever. And in this scene, the aunt is having a discussion about her gay son and how her son's gay, and she's like, "Yeah, as long as you're happy." So they're pushing the whole hedonism kind of thing, of course, and the sodomite thing. Yeah, we see here the Muslim refugees, and you've got to accommodate them. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. It's a Christian thing to do, but I mean, we're like a decade into this. Why do we need to see this? Is already not only passe, but it's a problem, as we're saying, because Islam has taken over, which is an evil cult. It's a horrendous political I don't know, construct or society. I mean, they're only anti-Christian, they're only anti-Semitic, but they're also, yeah, I mean, they're a problem. I mean, the first people they killed, again, I don't understand why the libtards don't get this. The first people they attacked in the October 7th thing was the liberals, the people that were having their peace festival, and they were tripping and they were doing their orgies and the rave party, and they mutilated those people. And that's what they do on a regular basis. I mean, you go to the Muslim countries, they're going to nightclubs, they're going to the kafir. Doesn't only mean Christian and Jew, it means people that don't believe in Allah, and that especially includes the sinners, the atheists, and so on. So I don't know, it's just insane how backward these things are, this propaganda. Yeah, you also see in the bottom right The eye, we talked about that again, and how that that's also in a subculture in Greece for some people. Some people believe in this power of the eye, unfortunately.
I was about to tell you about it. For some reason, you spoke about it immediately. Well done. Yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah, I
eye.
mean,
They call it the eye of Fatima.
yeah. So before you get to that, let me just say in this movie, it's just plastered all over the place. You can see even in this vehicle, they got the eye all over the place. I mean, oops, sorry. Yeah, even on the dashboard there on the bottom, it's just bad. But I'm sorry. You want to tell us again about the Eye of Fatima for those that didn't watch that stream?
No, no, just it's the eye of Fatima. It's for bad luck, by bad eye. So whoever believe in bad eye, we don't believe it. We believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Whoever believe in the Lord, nobody can be against him. So not even the
Right.
devil. So
Amen.
we don't believe in the bad eye. But for Muslims, they believe in the bad eye, and they call it. And they have sometimes the hand of Fatima, and it contains the eye inside it. So they call it the eye of Fatima, or the hand of Fatima, or palm of Fatima. So they put it for for the bad eye. So they believe that there is a bad luck, bad eye. People will hit them in the bad eye. So yes, for some reason it hit my. I immediately saw that uh, what the hell is doing there? It's in
Right.
Greece. Why it's in Greece?
Exactly. Notice how it's also covering up the Greek flag and the cross on the Greek flag.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's just propaganda. It's just again to undermine Greek Christianity. Um, and even this touching again on this national Greek. We're apologists. We're not running around saying you got to be Greek or anything like that. Quite the contrary. All the
Why
Greek
there is no
institutions.
cross?
Sorry.
Why there is no cross instead? It's
Right.
Greece.
Right, exactly. I mean, just like our brother Christian apologist pointed out, I mean, the orthodox thing to do is to have a prayer corner with these icons and crosses and so on. There's a cross everywhere in Greece, everywhere. But yeah, they'd rather portray Greeks as pagans, of course. That's what we keep hearing, even in these circles. The Greeks, the pagans, right? Kyrie eleison. All right, so even and again, touching on this ethnocentric thing, the whole Greek flag suitcase thing, or the Greek flag house thing. Do you know any Greeks that have that? Any of you? If you do, please let us know. Does any Greek have that actually? No, not a one. Give me a break. All right, but also last but not least, of course, is the typical masculation. The male figure, probably a gayish one, is asleep and pathetic and has no important role. The alpha male, the head of the house, is dead. She's in the driving wheel. The mayor of the community they go to is the goth chick that I pointed out, talking about do what you feel. Yeah, it's just really bad all around. And the movie closes with this line. This is the conclusion to the movie, people. This is the narrator speaking, Tula. He says, fighting over who is the head of the family. So she's confessing that this whole thing is about fighting over who's the head. But she says, no, that's not important. That's not important what matters. Oh, if it's not important, then why did you spend 4 movies emphasizing how Greeks are bad, men are horrible, are inferior, women are superior, if that's not important? And then she goes, what matters is that we're all together, the whole solidarity thing. Together in what? Rise up, join. That's the verdict we see even in sports events and all that. Rise up, join, become woke, and become unified in wokeness. The top of unification, that's what we're talking about. Join the commie team. All right, that's all I'm going to say about this movie. This has been difficult for me to do, and probably difficult for some of you guys to watch. I wasn't surprised to hear Christian apologist say this is a shock to the system. And that's the reason I opened up with that video. One, to premise what I'm about to share, but also to, I mean, the shock factor is expected because you hear nothing but the opposite in mass media. And that's, again, going to the satanic rights goal of uncreation. It's not about lying. It's not about deceiving. It's about doing the exact opposite of reality and about and their siege, their war on Jesus Christ and on Christianity and on Christians. Crapopolis, I mentioned it during the Armenian genocide. Again, nothing is discussed about Fyrom, about the occupied island, Greek island of Cyprus, about how during the European Union annexation and oppressive dictates, Greeks had to give away islands or territory, and that part is part of that. Never mind, had crippled their economy. I mean, I'm not going to bore you guys. You probably don't care about the plight of Greeks, but yeah, it's quite significant what's going on here. The propaganda is evident, glaringly evident, and I'm glad the Armenians got some traction here on the internet, at least. But why are we saying the exact opposite about the Greeks? Why? That's what I want you to think about. So you can see from the headings and the descriptions, you can freeze this screen later. We've gone long enough, but you can see, I mean, the Greeks saying Crapopolis, catering to children, the grassroots movement, talks about wife swapping, the angry goat herders. Greeks are not angry goat herders. The big man in hippocampus, whatever. Buy low, sell high, contagion, pushing the whole lockdown nonsense. I mean, people are still running around with muzzles. The elderly in nursing homes are being coerced, if not forced, to still do their new and improved lethal serums. Excuse me. This is still, we're being distracted about all kinds of things, by the way, in the process, including how Trump is going to save us. Trump, Mr. Lockdown, Mr. Super, what was it? With the serums, he said, super fast. He's so proud of it. And years after, even if the FDA and CDC had to admit, all these atrocities related to these 4 serums, he was like, well, I did a super fast Project Warp Speed. That's what it was. Super fast. Proud of it. And we're proud of that, right? This guy's going to save us. Politicians are not going to save us. The internet's not going to save us. Communism, sure as hell, not going to save us. We know who's going to. Jesus Christ is going to save us, but at the same time, faith without works is dead. We need to be more active. Evidently, we need to be more active than what we have been. And shame on me too for not being in all these other mass media outlets, being more vocal all this time. But better late than never. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's a detailed description of what I'm talking about here, in the description of this video. Please check that out. I mean, including how Turkey, centuries old business partner of the U.S. and the UK by extension, for their opium and for the crude or whatever, their geographical significance. By the way, let me ask this question. World War II. Why was it that Israel was given, or I should say the Jews were given Israel, but the Greeks or the Christians were not given Constantinople back? Why is that? All right. So what have the Greeks done for me? Another rhetoric that we hear is the ancient Greeks. Greeks are pathetic ever since the ancient Greeks. The modern Greeks from Christ on don't exist, number one, but two, they've done nothing, which is an absolute lie. We talked about the ancient Greeks at length in their contributions. Aristarchus, I can't even say the name, of Samos, a Greek island. Well, he was the original Copernicus centuries before, mapping out the universe. The Hippocratic Oath, every doctor had to take, except for recently. Many practices, they stopped doing that. There's a reason for that, because they're pushing abortion, genocide. And also, that's also Baal worship. It's related. At least some people say that. Pythagoras of Samos, again, the same island. We know about the Pythagorean theorem. Philosophy. People love their philosophy, whatever. and it's still fundamental. Even in these circles we hear people employ it all the time. Democracy was invented in Greece. Christian charity and evangelism, something you don't hear about at all. And of course, we're not supposed to ring our own bells. Short of some advertising, for example, when it comes to evangelism specifically, there's an organization, OCMC. They don't really advertise outside of Orthodox circles because Orthodox people, non-Orthodox from what I've seen, are really, how can I put it? They don't like the Orthodox. They segregate themselves from the Orthodox, you know. They ostracize the Orthodox. So there's no reason for this Orthodox organization to pay money to advertise outside of Orthodoxy when they know it's not going to be fruitful. So you probably haven't heard about them, but they're very active. But also, of course, I mean, you look at the history of the church at large, Greeks from the very beginning have been very active in evangelism, including even going as far as inventing a language. Some in the Orthodox circles, at least, are aware of the Slavic language and how that was invented by Greeks for the sake of evangelism. Yeah, the arts and sciences and architecture in modern times, you don't hear about it. Even a cure for AIDS was invented by a Greek Australian. So, and a woman, by the way. And so, yeah, I mean, those who say Greeks don't contribute are just, not only they're being bigoted, they're being prejudiced, they're being ignorant. And how, it's hard to blame them in some way, as we said. You hear nothing positive about Greeks. All you hear is, you know, pre-Christian society and how horrible the Greeks are. That's all you hear in media, and laugh at them. One of my personal favorites, I got to include this guy, Robert Anastas. When I was in grade school, I was active in SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving. It was back then. Now it's Students Against Destructive Decisions, which probably plays also. It can be hijacked by the woke agenda. I misspelled it there with 2 A's, ironically. If you look up SAD, by the way, that's actually a Muslim organization. It's quite ironic. But anyway. So, yeah, but he says if you dream it, it can be done. You know, and that was really meaningful to me. But it's also ironic. It plays into this whole hedonism, individualistic kind of nihilistic kind of approach to things. Okay, so in conclusion, if it's not too late, which it is, so the collective psyche worldwide has this slanderous perspective habitually implanted in them, for generations or for decades. We've heard nothing but negative things about Greece, and I've demonstrated why. Yeah. So every 7 years, as we saw, there was a sequel to My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So according to that, there should be another sequel, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 4 in 2030. I'd love to hear in the chat what you guys think that's going to be about, or in the description later. Also, AHEPA. AHEPA is kind of like the, what is that organization? NAACP kind of thing. The what's the Jewish organization that does the, you know, all the communist stuff? You can't even talk about Jews, honestly. I forgot what they're called. Anyway, yeah, so AHEPA is supposed to be like that. But where are they in all of this? I mean, yeah, I don't trust these orgs at all, for good reason. Also, I need to point out 9/11, go back to that. Again, right before My Big Fat Greek Wedding was released. Yeah, there was some rumors that, well, actually not rumors, the government investigations said that the own government agencies, secret agencies, were aware of the attack before. They did nothing about it. So at best, it was incompetence. Regardless, it was Muslims that carried it out. But in the destruction, there was a small church, St. Nicholas, that was destroyed. The towers, destroyed it. So the Greeks were not allowed to rebuild their church initially. And so the next thing you know, some years later, very few years later, the mosque were getting ready to build I mean, the mosque. The Muslims were going to build a mosque there at ground zero, and that was going to be allowed. And all of a sudden, the Greek community said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What? Say what? You're going to allow them to build a mosque right there at ground zero where they did the terrorist activity, and a sign of victory for the Muslims, but you're not going to allow us to rebuild our church that already pre-existed there?" So they thankfully stopped the building of the mosque at ground zero. You're welcome. But, which is also, unfortunately, apparently the Muslims, as we see in Minnesota and Texas, California, on and on and on, the Muslims are still entrenched. Michigan. But anyway, but they finally got the okay to rebuild St. Nicholas. But as you see on the picture bottom left, what is orthodox about the building? You see, they were not originally they were not going to be allowed even to put any kind of icon or anything. It had to be a open-minded, all-inclusive building. They were thankfully allowed to put a cross on the top. That was something. But that was the original plans for it. That's what they were allowed. But thankfully, with some fighting and all that, they finally were allowed to put some icons inside. And as you can see, that's the bottom middle picture. And you can see, I'm going to zoom in on that because it's significant. We talked about how we Orthodox venerate the Theotokos above all other saints. But in every Orthodox church, as you see, she's on the bottom left corner there above the altar with the babe Christ child in her womb. So, but above all that is Christ the way. Okay. So, and if you look at the iconography, it's telling a story. I mean, again, this originated at a time when not everyone was literate. And so they saw these images and they understood what's going on, as well as hearing the sermons in the church in the liturgy, which is in large all scriptural, by the way. Not all, but most part, it's scriptural. Psalms and so on. So, but yeah, I mean, make no mistake about it. God is a center point, and he's above all. And that is true in the architecture and iconography of the Orthodox faith as well. Okay, I will say this. There's the top right, there's a scene I mentioned of Stanley Kubrick. So it goes that far back. This was in the 60s. The whole Orthodox bashing, Greek bashing, what have you. But recently, I think it was in 2009, around 2010, the Patriarch of Constantinople, called the Green Bishop, by the way, for decades, the Green Bishop. Now, keep in mind, Constantinople has been under Ottoman rule for centuries. Greece was liberated, but as I mentioned, Constantinople was not. Jews were given Israel, the Greeks were not given back their sea. They're not given back their land, nor the Fanar. So, to this day, the Patriarch submits to Turkish rule, including submitting to the rule that the next Patriarch has to be Turkish. But even recently, the Greek Orthodox Diocese, they changed their Patriarch, and he too is directly from the Patriarchate, and is also Turkish. So there's something, I don't know, something may be going on there. But he forced Mount Athos. Maybe you might have heard of the 60 Minutes program, Mount Athos. I think that was in 2011 originally. And I'm not crazy about the way the Athenian mics. Yeah.
Sorry, what patriarch is Turkish?
The GOA. He's not a patriarch. He's what do they call it? The Archbishop of America, of the Greek Church in America.
All right.
Yeah. So, but the next Patriarch of Constantinople has to be Turkish by Turkish law. So
the seat mainly was there, but it has been moved to Damascus. You know that, and because of the Turkish occupation of the land, so it's not safe.
Right, I agree. That's my point. Like, it's not. It's being taken over. I mean, this whole BRICS thing is. I'm illustrating here is deep rooted. Okay, it's a big problem.
Yes.
Yeah, and then again, the 60 Minutes, the portrayal of the Athenian monks. I mean, they portrayed them as some kind of voodoo people. I'm not a big fan of that. But the Athenian monks don't do these interviews, but they were coerced by the patriarch to do it. So I believe I've covered everything here. Yeah, I thank you for those that are still here. God bless you for your patience. I apologize if I offended anyone today. I thought it was important to do this stream for many reasons. I hope it's fruitful. I hope people understand what I'm trying to demonstrate here. And I encourage people to reconsider if you're using things like neither Jew nor Greek in the wrong spirit and these kinds of things, where the Greeks are pagans or the Orthodox are pagans and all these other horrible things that are wrong. Thank you, Protestant. Please reconsider. If not for the sake of the Greeks, at least for the sake of Christianity. All right, God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. It was a great presentation. You show all in it, basically. You spoke about tourism and the Greece and everything like that. I really ask everyone to go to Greece. It's lovely place to go, and there is a lovely islands in it to visit, and it's a holy place to visit. Mount Athos or other places. Lovely churches, lovely places to visit. Even as I said, I mentioned I went to visit where Saint Nectarius was buried and where he lived. So you can see so many places in Greece. It's lovely land. So and the food, I tell you, you'll have a lovely fish, lovely pistachios, so many lovely food. So I really advise everyone to try it, to give it a try, really. So don't miss it. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate these comments. It's just very, very cool to hear. Next week let's talk about the timing. So is this time good for people? I kind of like it myself, to be honest with you. I know there's a time zone change coming up, so then there's that too. But maybe we should keep doing it this time. What do you guys think?
It's good for me. If it's good for you, I'm fine.
Okay.
I said it's perfect. Dragana earlier on said it is. Yeah, she just repeated again. So yes, apparently yes. We'll keep going at the same timing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so next week I was thinking about doing Turning Red. And I know people are, more anxious that we do more things that are explicitly focusing on Islam. Do you guys think I should keep my program of doing Red and focusing on the pedophilia and that stuff, or should we do something more centered on Islam and Islam only for next week?
I wanted to put on your mind, let's say, the Da Vinci Code as well. We should make it one day.
That's a great idea. Another good one.
We should make the Da Vinci Code. It's so bad movie for Christianity.
I agree. That and what was not the passion? What was the other one called? Yeah, I mean, there's just so many movies. I mean, there's just so much we can do. We got to do. I mean, I almost want to do this twice a week, but it's all I can do to keep up with doing it weekly. The original idea was to do this every other week, but as soon as Amir said, "Let's do this weekly," I was like, "All right, I love your zeal. Let's go for it." All right. So, all right, yeah, we'll do that too for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I owe you guys a link for the video that we shared at the very beginning, the link for Christian Apologists channel, and I'm not sure what else. Next week, I think we'll stick with Turning Red. We might do another movie with that, Lama's poem or something like that. I did an editor to work on it, but we might do both at the same time because they're both they parallel each other, and they're definitely about the the BRICS discussion and Islam for sure. So we might do it that way. I think that's a good idea. So we'll do that at the same time we did it this week. And
Okay.
hopefully I'll have some more technological things improved by then.
Great. Wonderful. Then we'll end it now. We'll leave you by the blessing and the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you, Brother Nicodemus. Thank you, everyone. God bless you and keep you safe. Good night.
Let me close with this.
I want the truth.
All
You
right.
can't handle the truth.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Please subscribe to my channels, press like and the bell to receive all my new videos. Leave your comments below, opinions, or questions. Follow me to know what is next, or in case they close this channel. #Amir Zaidan YouTube channel. YouTube.com/AmirZaidan.
Thank you very much. Jesus Christ be with you.